Alright, should be fine now. I'm not muted. It's anytime that Windows updates at all, it like changes my default microphone and then it like fucks it in Streamlabs and I don't always check it. No, the promo Rapunzels are like 300 or 400. It's possible that they came down some, but they were still quite a bit. Yeah, they're still like you can get them for $300, but there's not a ton of them out on eBay. So it's like pretty good. No. It is the it is this one right here. This one. It is the non-foil of the one that they got for top 32. But it's pretty sweet. They look really cool in person too. Yeah, exactly. Selling them in person or whatever. Yeah, that one it's super cool. The foil one looks even better, but I did not get top 32 in that event. So there wasn't any top 32 to be had there, which is fine. Yeah, so I'm going to play a couple games. This is pretty close to what I'm going to play tomorrow, I think. Some of the numbers are a little weird, so we want to adjust. And there's sort of two flavors of this deck that I'm looking at. One of them is a Maurice's Workshop as the secondary draw, and then the other one is with Whole New World. And I haven't exactly... Yeah, Simba's great. I haven't exactly figured out which one I want to do more, whether it's the Workshop or Whole New World. If I go with Whole New World, it would require a little bit of adjustment as far as some of the like 5-drop numbers or whatever. Probably one less aerial as well. But this is what we're going to start with, and then we're going to see if we can jam a couple games and feel it out for tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll play probably some Pixelborn today, probably this weekend, because we're going to do the tournament tomorrow, I think, because it's kind of the last one, so we may as well. And then some next week leading into Chicago, just doing testing. Again, likely I'm going to be on this deck or something very close to it. We go second. I can maybe ship it all, except we'll keep the Smee. Yeah, I mean, I'll certainly play in it. I don't know how much I'm looking forward to it. The Pixelborn news really kind of took the wind out of my sails a bit, and made it a lot less exciting to sort of do anything. But it'll be fine, you know, I'm sure, but it is a bit frustrating. It would be fine if there was going to be a client available to play still, but without any sort of a client option, it's going to be really annoying. So this was predictable, which is why we kept what we did. I think I'll send back the Smee and we'll just boom it here. Pass. Yeah, Magic is somewhat close. I don't really want to play Magic again. It's just not my jam anymore. I'm a bit past the point of where Magic is great, I think. So I could play a Smee. It makes their Flynn a little worse. I could just boom it again. It does mean that I won't get to Fishbone Quill, but that's probably fine. Let's just hit it, and then we'll get rid of Smee again. It's fine. Like, I'd rather they not have a Flynn Rider in play, ideally. Especially because it just gives them options. I don't necessarily need Turbo up. I can just Flav next turn. It's fine. We're likely pretty favored into this matchup anyway. If you play hero, gain 1 lore. That's a bit annoying. I would really like to get this Fishbone Quill online at some point. Let's draw a couple cards. So I think I'm going to have to play this Cogsworth next turn, most likely. If we don't have to play Cogs next turn, we could do Workshop plus Popsicle and then sack Popsicle. That's not a bad line. If we still have the Flab in play, that might be what we consider. Sisu a hero? It is. So they gain a lore. Get to quest with this, gain 2 more. I may end up just having to play this Cogsworth so that I can put a little bit more pressure on this Phil. I have plenty of card draw, so I don't really need this Flaversham right now. We can just play Cogsworth and pass. This way we can kill the Philosophicles. Sorry, Philoctetes. And then we have a little bit more options. Could even, in theory, run out the Aerial to bully the Sisu. But we'll see. Yeah, so it's kind of tricky what we want to do after this week, because this will be helpful, I think. Maybe we set up for that. I think I can let them kill the Flav, and then we can Simba. So let's just draw some cards. I don't really care about the Sisu. It's fine. Draw a card here, draw a card here. Oh, that'll do. That'll do nicely. But we can wait on that a little bit. So we just not Fishbone Quilling this game. It's fine. Do I even need to draw cards this turn? I guess I don't. I can just be safe for 1 turn. Let them go up to 12, and then we can just kill most of their board. This would be 2... the Sisu would have to hit the Flav. That's fine. We'll just pass. Like, this turn we'll be able to try and bully their board a bit. We'll see what they've got for 6. But we definitely need to take a lot of this off the board, but we're probably going to Tinkerbell grab instead of the Simba. And then we can use the Flav to kill this. Alternatively, we hit this twice. Oh no, we have to use this to sing, right? So we can kill the Sisu with one of these and leave them with just the Robin. I think that'll be fine. We won't need this. So I can get rid of that. We can just go Tinkerbell into Grab Your Sword on this. And then we can just hit here, now that that's a little bit weaker. And then I don't need to sack the Popsicle, because this can only deal 2 anyway. This puts us in a pretty good spot, actually, with the Tinkerbell. Yeah, Swords is predictable, but it doesn't really do that much. Double Swords doesn't do anything either. Sure. I can just do... I can do this. And then they don't even get a card. Seems fine. We have 7. We'll clean it up in 2 turns with the aerial. Hey, Jasper. I already forgot what colors they were. Ruby steel. I actually hope I run into Bucky a lot tomorrow. Because in general, I think I'm pretty favored into that. So I'm looking forward to that. It's one of the reasons that I'm playing blue steel still. Because... overall, I think that the deck is pretty good. So I go second again because we're fighting still the same opponent, which makes sense. Given that the Tinkerbell's like okay, Simba's like, or Smee is like okay. Like I send these, we'll keep maybe the Tinkerbell. I don't know yet, Lan. I'm only a couple of games in so far. Maybe I should have kept the Cogsworth, because it is good in this matchup. This hand's probably better anyway, with the Baboom. I would assume Chinpo is awesome, because it should be awesome. Our opponent has an Aladdin. That's fine. It is a little annoying if they shift Aladdin, but... it is what it is if they do. It just means that we can't freely run out our items, but they have to have a location for that, so who knows. We can dump this guy with the Baboom. I never play Smee. It feels like Smee is just not a fucking real card. You just always have to shoot Flynn Rider. Maybe he's just better on the play, not on the draw. Especially against Flynn Rider and Diablo, like, you just have to be blasting. In this format, at least. So they discard an Aladdin. I wonder what they've got for 3, then. Another one? Another one, sure. That's fine. We certainly don't need this. Let's just play this, and then do this, I guess. So we can Zeus next turn, I guess, if we want. So let's do this, play this. I know that they can kill one of them here, that's fine. It doesn't actually matter that much if they blow up the Quill. We really only need, like, some ramp, and that's usually good enough. As we saw last game, we didn't really ramp that much. I may end up grabbing your sword. Because this will gain 3. If we don't. It's probably fine. We'll just do this and then pass. And then the turn after we can play Tinkerbell. And then in theory that should clean up most of the board. Like the Sisu we can get with the Zeus later. And then we should still have an item left over for the Flav, which will be nice. I guess it is probably better to get rid of Chenpo here, so that we can play the Tinkerbell. That way we can keep the Flav. So I'm not running Fire the Cannons currently, and I have a Smash in, mostly because it's good against Aladdin. It can still kill Diablo if it's on one cove, and I feel like it just gives us more room to play as far as like our options. At least that's been my thought with it. They just rip a whole new world. I see. Okay. That's fine. Do we want to kill this Sisu then? I guess we can kill it with Zeus, potentially. This is 2, 3... I'll be at 7, so we can also Flav. That's probably fine then. So we'll just Zeus that. Ink us me. Play Fishbone Quill, play Fortisphere. Ink, Rise of the Titans, play Flaversham. Draw with Fortisphere and pass. And we can turn our hand into just like a fuckload of different cards, which will be nice with these Flavs. Their most likely outcome is that they probably like Maui the Tinkerbell, which is fine. I don't love it, but it doesn't really progress their board much. Robin Hood. Shift Robin Hood, sure. And an Aladdin. So we do have to be cautious with the Aladdins here, because they do have the Shift Aladdin as well. Definitely not playing that. I'm debating if I even want to quest at all this turn. Like, it's possible that I don't, and I just play the other Tinkerbell. Yeah, I don't hate that, actually. Yeah, I don't hate that here. I'm just going to play another Tinkerbell and pass. Because they can't gain that much lore out of nowhere. They can gain some, but if we don't enable them to get free lore by also killing our Flavs, I think that'll be better for us in the short term. Unsurprisingly, they did have an Aladdin shift. Grab your swords. Do we have double grab? Double grab would be pretty rough. Manageable, but pretty rough. No, they just opt to quest. Okay, well that's bad for them then. Because I can do... attack here, Simba this, and then they don't get to draw. Which is what I did the other game as well. Shoot that, and then we can... I guess just do this. We don't need to ink with the Fishbone Quill here. Baboom and an aerial. I don't think I need the Baboom, but we can do this. And I guess this, if they play Scar and eat our whole board, I think that's okay. Because we can just follow it up with double aerial here then. Yeah, this game seems pretty locked up. Maui is like not a real card. Hopefully they play something that we can shoot with Simba. They did not. Unfortunate. Let's just do... Cogsworth Aerial, and then we'll just trade this off. And then we probably don't need this smash anymore, now that we're so firmly ahead in the game. I know that we lose our aerial buff here, but it's pretty likely for us to find another item. Our deck is quite full of them. Let's do this. Ink this, I guess, and pass. So this feels pretty solid. One of the problems with this color combination, it just doesn't really have a lot of draw. Even with the whole New Worlds in the deck, it's like your only draw engine. And it is not something that you can leverage particularly well one-sidedly. Because your opponent is also getting the 7 cards, and you really don't have like the big advantage that you would be able to take under a perfect scenario here. So what is this, 5, 6, 7, 13, 14, 15. So if I had a dime, I would just win. I guess I should have quested with Ariel first. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I was going to play the crab then if I didn't find it. It's fine. Bodyguard. Okay, your turn. Felt pretty clean, so we'll battle again. The thing about this deck is I don't really think it has to ramp that much to be good. Especially against a lot of the like non-ramp decks. You can kind of get away with just going from 3 to 5, and then the rest of it just doesn't matter as much. It's kind of why I always thought Benjo was pretty crap against this deck, because it just didn't do anything. Let's send all these, but we'll keep the Mickey just to make sure that we have a ramp. Sand's fine, not great. I think we have to get rid of the Simba. Since it's a little far from where we're needing to be. This is good. See what colors they are. Kind of determines how we're going to play this. If I don't have to use this, that would be ideal. Seems pretty likely that this Baboom is going to be necessary then. Unfortunately, this Grab Your Swords is likely not long for this world. But it does mean that we don't really need this Fishbone Quill that much. I'm debating if I want to save an item for the workshop. It's a little slow. Let's play the Popsicle first, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Then we definitely get rid of this. If they have Bucky into Shift Diablo, I'm probably going to discard Grab Your Sword. And then we'll just shoot the Diablo. Obviously, if they don't shift the Diablo, then I don't need to do that. I can get rid of Rise of the Titans. Just play Mickey Mouse here. We do have a lot of card draw in hand if we want. Obviously, if they don't take this Grab Your Sword, I'm just going to cast it next turn. If they do take it, then we'll adjust our plan, obviously. To either playing Workshop plus a Baboom or... So they knew that we had this. Okay. Maybe we don't need Chenpo. Let's just send this shit to the Shadow Realm. I don't know. Bye. Just like jam Ariel, I don't know. Kind of more interested in doing like Baboom plus Workshop on something, ideally. And then we can follow it up with a Workshop. Just start drawing cards. Yeah, we'll just kill Diablo. Feels pretty safe to me. Why didn't they play Diablo last turn? Make us discard a card. Kind of weird. Play Coggers. It is good against them. Like, very good, generally. I really would like to kill this, though. Maybe I just don't ink it. Maybe that's the solution. Because getting Diablo off the field, I think, is just more important than developing Cogsworth here. Just don't let them draw for any reason. I can maybe take a turn off here. So we can get a little bit of draw going. I'm gonna have to deal with this beast at some point, but I imagine we'll have some time. Bucky, sure. Black Owl, appreciate the follow. They just decide to quest. Sure. I think I'll just bash it with the Mickey Mouse once I play the Cogsworth then. Obviously, we'll see what we draw. Ideally, we draw a Popsicle, so we can pick up a bunch more cards. Baboom is fine. Doesn't really change much with my play, I don't think. I think it's still just Cogsworth, and we bash here. Appreciate it. Do we ink the Baboom? If they play a Diablo, it would be nice to have it, but I guess we don't necessarily have to ink it this turn. This at least stops them from drawing extra cards for now. Grab your sword. My Mickey Mouse has perished. Whatever will I do? I could just kill their beast here. This is really awkward draws, but I think I should kill the beast. We can do this. Heal our Cogsworth. Hit this for 2. We Baboom it. Play Mickey. And then I guess we heal it again. And just pass. Their clock is like abysmal. Which is good for us. If we can have this Cogsworth live for a turn, I think that would be our ideal scenario. It doesn't even need to live that long. I don't know yet. The knight's alright. I don't know if the workshops are better or worse than the Whole New World. I do know that Whole New World is a very strong card, and I can acknowledge that, because I've been playing it for a while in this deck. But we're trying workshops in this variant that I'm playing right now, and we'll see kind of where we're at. Given this is our draw, we're just going to do this. We're going to kill the Bucky, so that's just not a problem anymore. And we can get a clock on if we want, or we can just protect our shit. I'm just going to get the clock on. Let's try to close the game. So far, we have not dropped a game, but we've only played 2, so... so overall, it's okay. I did have to struggle a little bit to get the pictures, because I hadn't updated Pixelborn since they killed everything. Yeah, there's not really room for both workshops and Whole New Worlds, because a lot of them are kind of dirtily. The reason that I like the workshops is because it gives you a way to not allow your opponent to draw cards as well, which is nice. Like, I don't really want my opponents getting cards, ideally, even though we can a lot of times take better advantage of it than them because we have more ramp. It is really awkward in the matchups where we are at our worst, which is the other ramp decks. Play a bunch of shitters, yeah. I mean, that's how you play a lot of these decks, is you just, like, run out a bunch of shitters, and then... Why did they bounce this one and not the Tinkerbell? Oh, I suppose it doesn't matter. That makes sense. Yeah, that is a very Magic the Gathering type of expression, because it is very frequent that you are playing a lot of shitters, and that's just, like... how it be. So the Smees are okay. Maybe one Smee is okay. Let's do this. I would like to get something on the lines of a Baboom, if possible, or Ramp, or both. Because obviously Diablo can be a bit of a problem. It's possible that we should have sent one of these Popsicles back as well, to dig for Ramp a little bit more. But we'll see. This is kind of an awkward draw. I don't think I will be running out double Smee. I think it's very unlikely. One probably for sure, but not two. Yeah, you can see this list. It should be up. It should be up here. Should be the same list. Yeah, so the reason that I don't like drawing this early is that it is a song, so they can take it. We had no songs, and then they were able to get one because of that, which is a bit awkward. I think in this case, we bin a Smee, play a Smee. There's a world where we have double Smee in play. We ink a Flabbersham, but I feel like because we have the second Fortitude, these can draw quite a few cards this game, in theory, but we'll see. There's the Diablo, which we currently don't have any answers for, which is a bit awkward. The Ramp is nice. Perhaps we don't worry about drawing cards, and we just play out Cogsworth and Chenpo, and then quest until the game is over. The beast is mine. Interesting. Huh. Okay. If this Smee is alive, we'll be in a pretty good spot, I think. If we rip another Swords, we'll be in a better spot, but I don't really care that much if they're drawing a bunch of cards, realistically. Like, I'm considering just dumping this other Flaversham and just racing, because their clock is slow as shit. Just, like, play one spell a turn. I guess we can get rid of the Fortis here, then, if we're doing that, because it's kind of the same as getting rid of the Flav. We just, like, do this and race, because our clock is fucking twice the speed of theirs. Why the Chenpo? So the Chenpo is a 4/7. If I have a Cogsworth in play, what cards in their entire 60-card deck interact with Chenpo in a way that makes it so that we're worried about it ever being tapped? There's literally nothing in their entire deck that can interface with Chenpo favorably. So they're going to make us discard 2 cards. So I think we play Chenpo here. We quest out. And then we ink this and pass. And we may end up having to just kill this Bell, which is fine. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll see, they might just beat us here in the race. Depends, if they play another Bell and we don't rip anything, we may have to Flaversham, let him draw like 10 cards. Yeah. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3. We'll see. Okay, so they didn't quest with this. That's strange. Right, this is 1, 2, 3. I guess technically if they don't quest with it, it's the same, right? So then what we do is we just ink this. I mean, it doesn't actually matter if I ink this, but... so Chenpo is going to kill this. We're going to just blast the Bell with the Zeus off the Cogsworth. Yeah, so we're going to do this. Boom, kill Bell. We're going to play Coggers, my dude. We'll bash that. And then we'll just quest out. And then we'll pass. And then they will have to get rid of Smee, I guess. In theory. If they want to not die. But they can't attack our stuff. They can do +2 here. Or sorry, +1. So this would be 5, so it'd go to 18. So they have to do a removal spell. This doesn't have text. Except for draw a card, which is fine. What is nice is if they're singing, it means that they're not questing. And if we can get 2 turns of questing out of this, then we'll win for sure. Because if they have to use all their resources to kill this, and then they don't get enough questing in, then we'll be okay. Strength. Okay, so they do manage to not die this turn. By killing the Smee. So that's good for them. This is 1, 2, they'll go to 15, and then they have exactly, but we can kill the Ursula. So then if they shift Pegasus or Robin Hood, it's going to be bad for us. So we'll see what we draw. This is a pretty tight game. But we have quite a few redraws that would be good here. Any one of our removal spells would be fine, because we can shoot the Robin or the Pegasus. Oh, they also have Bruno to kill the Chenpo. That's annoying, but fine. That doesn't really change our clock much. Makes it harder to kill the Ursula, I guess. So we have pretty forced line here. We have to double attack the Ursula and just hope that they don't have either one of these shifts, I guess. I don't really have another line. But if they shift either one of these, then they have enough to get us in this spot. But since we didn't really draw any extra cards, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total cards. What are you going to do? Ah, chatbot. Certainly not. So my assumption here is that they don't have the Robin or Pegasus shift, or they would have slammed it and just won immediately. I can only imagine, right? They would have to get rid of both Mickey and Smee in order to not just lose to the Cogsworths, which is possible, certainly. But they're going to need Zeus and then also another Zeus, because the Mickey will live. Again, not questing here. It's good for us. They should have done this first if that was the plan. Because they could have hit a shift and then been able to... I guess they can still shift, but now it's not enough. Play another Diablo and a Pegasus. Cool. So we got them with the Cogsworths. Unsurprising. Again, their board is full of shitters, and Cogsworth makes all of their removal spells not function, so it doesn't matter how many cards they draw if all of them are bad. How do I... There it is. No. How do I do the well played? Okay. Yeah. Alright. We'll take our victory here. Easy game, easy life, indeed. So I can show the deck here. We're probably not going to play too long today. So I'm pretty happy with where the list is at. Plus or minus like one card, maybe. But we're on the 8 popsicles with the Fortisphere and Popsicle. 3 workshops instead of the 4 Whole New Worlds, because it gives us another uninkable slot back. We cut Bell in favor of just more aerials, because Bell is bad against... Bell doesn't do anything against blue-red, basically, unless you're playing Dime. Like, specifically Dime Bell. Alright, but if you are already at the point of doing Dime Bell, like, you're probably going to be okay in a lot of those games. So my thought is that you don't really need it as much as you maybe did before, because you have a more consistent plan to get up to that point. I think 4 Babooms is forced. I think you have to run these. This one smash is in the place of... like the Fire the Cannons, and I think the Smash is a little bit more flexible, especially because it's inkable. However, I could be convinced that the Smash could just be the Fire the Cannons and be better. This does hit a few more targets that are annoying, and still hits the same other ones. I think Simba's awesome. I think this card is exactly what you want it to be at almost all stages of the game. Because you don't feel terrible about inking it, because it does cost 7, right? But the fact that it can just deal 2 to something, and then still just be another Tinkerbell... Like, if I could run 6 Tinkerbells, I probably would, but I can't, so I have to run some other stuff. And the Simba gives you more options to, like, just shoot things down. And it also allows you to dig if you're in a position where there aren't really characters. Like, you just challenge something and then do that. It's also a 5/7, which means that it lives against... Maui's and such, which is awesome. I mean, it is similar to Chenpo in that it's just huge, and that is relevant a lot of times. You know, Tamatoa, Chenpo, Simba, they're all just very large. I don't know about the Maurice's Workshop yet. I think it is a good card, and certainly when I was playing it in Popsicle Set 2 stuff, it was very good for me, a lot. But I don't know if that is something that will continue in this set. I believe it is probably going to be a meta call if the Whole New Worlds are better than the Maurice's Workshops. If you look at a lot of the lists, they have very little item hate, and they are all, a lot of them are running Whole New Worlds themselves. So you want to be the person that's not running Whole New World in a world full of Whole New Worlds, because it's really crap in the mirror a lot of times, because it just, you don't want to be the one doing Whole New World stuff, ideally. I think we'll get rid of a Boom, but keep the Smash. Nice, this is a pretty good hand. Let's send Tomato back. It's a little early for that. Yeah, this hand's great. I don't know what they're playing, but this hand should give us flexibility to basically participate in almost any color combination. Unless they're actually on blue steel, and then this hand is a little awkward, mostly because its cards are not as strong as some other options. That's okay. We do still have the Fishbone Quill. Let's get rid of a Boom and play out the Smee. Yeah, red-blue is problematic, but if you build this deck right, I don't think it is as bad as it seems. It's not great, still. We could smash this and then get in. I don't really feel like that's a winning line. I almost wonder if it's better to play the long game. Nah, we don't have to play the long game. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think you have to leverage aerials a bit more. Like, I think that certainly is true. I'll let them trade with Smee, it's fine. I do think that you have to leverage aerial a lot more against red-blue. Because they don't have as many answers to it, but it is possible that it's problematic. Yeah, I'm not really sure yet. I don't think that Maurice's Workshop is bad against. Oh, do you mean the Mickey Smee version? Sure. So here I think. Yeah, the one jump ahead version. I think our play is going to be to Workshop. And we'll do this. And then we can ink Smee here. Let's just do this. And then we'll just draw lots of cards, and it'll be fine. We're going to draw like 5 cards next turn. They just inked a Cogsworth. That's 2 Cogsworths that they've inked now. That has got to be an error on their part. But I could be wrong, of course. Let me do this. It's fine. We only drew like 6 cards or something. Close game. And this is where the Whole New World version is just worse than like the Workshop version. Because like, yes, they still have aerials and such, but you're not drawing a ton of cards for your opponent, which I think is pretty good for you. We want to get Diamond play cooking, or I don't necessarily know if we need to yet. Maybe we start with Flav and just draw some more cards. Aerial of our own. That does make it a little better, but I'm going to play this first. Tamatoa. We like Tamatoa. Let's ink you, and you, and you, and then say go. I like the dime a little more now. It's fine, we're only 5 ink up on our opponents. And 10 cards. Okay, ink this thing. Let's do this first. Quill and another dime. So how much ink are we going to have here? We'll have 6, 9, that'd be 15. We can't quite get to 15. But we can probably just play this and draw some cards then. We'll draw quite a few cards. So we'll ink this. Let's... We ever need the second dime? I don't think so. Maybe, though. I'm going to play this, even without the draw here. Because I may want the extra ink next turn that this can give me. Are they just dead next turn if we crab them? Oh, they Hadesies me, sure. I may have been playing around too long, unironically. Because if they dime, they can just win. Let's maybe see if we can draw another Grab Your Sword then. Since we've been dicking around for too long. That'll work, I guess, against this. So that's 5. We want to get Ariel in play this turn. Do we ever have enough ink to double dime? Double dime is 19... Sorry, 18 rather. Yeah, we can probably do that next turn. So let's do this. We can do this here. And then we'll ink Chenpo. Quill. Draw 2 cards. Okay, I guess that's enough cards. We'll just stop playing around and we'll win next turn. I probably didn't need to let this be in play this long without, like, challenging it with one of the 4 Tinkerbells that we played or whatever, but it was more fun to get more ink. It's fun to draw cards. I missed the Maurice's Workshop popsicle pile. It was always fun to just draw cards and stuff. No! My dimes! What do I do? They're just gonna whole new world me to death. I hope they do. I think we have no Tamatoas left. This is great. I hope they do kill me with Whole New Worlds. What's really interesting is for all of the fishbone quelling and stuff that we've done, our opponent isn't that far behind us in ink. So at 13, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's 18. So a dime does still kill us here, unfortunately. But we could also just kill this aerial, which might be favorable for us. It probably is, actually. So if I do this, and then we kill aerial, then we're a million miles away from them being able to really do anything. I guess I should have played Cogsworth first. Am I even playing Cogsworth? I don't even know if I'm playing Cogsworth. I'm just going to draw cards. Fuck it. I'm just going to draw all the cards. Play another aerial. I haven't inked yet, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could kill this and then also play my other aerial. Maybe that's not a bad idea. So we'll do this. Ink. 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 This thing. Maybe it's better to play the Cogsworth instead of worrying about the Beast so that they can't just double swords us. One of them's already gone, so they need all of their swords left. I don't know. If they double swords me, they got me. I was too greedy. I delved too greedily and too deep. I was supposed to popsicle this. That was an actual mistake. Yeah, I think it's probably right to keep the aerial at full health. We could have played Cogsworth and then healed it, and it would have been full. And then with Cogsworth plus aerial, plus the 3 aerials, it's unlikely that we actually lose here. So that was maybe a bit of a too greedy with all of our ink. But it's fine. Because even just a regular swords here is bad for us, because it means that we don't win in one turn. So they did have one. So they're trying to play for the win. That's interesting. I guess it makes sense, because if they rip another Whole New World, they just win here. Smart. Probably I would have done. If they didn't have enough to, like, delay the board more, then it's not a bad idea. But now they leave themselves dead to this aerial, because they don't have enough to cast it, so good try, though. Definitely a good try to actually win there. We were a little too greedy in a few spots in that game. That's okay. We'll play a little bit more conservatively this time. Hey, Pygon. Appreciate the raid. So we'll keep a Flav and maybe a Smee. We want the Cogsworth. Maybe we don't even keep Flav. No, we can keep one Flav. We don't need to keep the Cogsworth. We'll keep these. Nice. I think this is what we'll send. I do like the Cogsworth in this matchup, but we can draw into him. Not the best hand ever, but it's fine. Nice. We'll send Tinkerbell. We'll just Fortisphere here. I may hold on to this Popsicle until after we workshop. We'll see how the game develops, but having extra draw is nice. We may even play the double Smee this game. Link this for sure. Jam, Smee, and pass. Yeah, thanks for the raid. Have a good night. So the quest with Smee, unsurprisingly. They have a Fishbone Co, which is pretty bad for us. Especially since they're on the Whole New World build. And unfortunately we are not, but that is life. So we'll send the Simba here. So we sort of have two options. We can do Smee and Popsicle, or we can just develop a workshop. I think I'm just going to send the workshop, and then we'll bash the Smee and pass. I'll just slow them down a little bit. Most likely they're looking to set up Whole New World here. Not a lot that we can do about it, but they may just do it now. If they quill, then just Whole New World, which is fine. Our hand is like average. No, they play Ariel first, which makes sense. Ariel definitely makes me want to lead on the Popsicle then, though. Oh my god, that's all of our Flavershams. That's so bad. It's fine. We do have the workshop to draw. We don't actually need the Flavershams necessarily. If they look to just sing this, we do have the option then as well of like ripping a Tinkerbell to be able to kill it, or swords. So we have some options for play to deal with the Ariel with the Smee in play. So if they ink this, they likely have the Whole New World. Oh no, they just have Dime. That's fine. That I don't care about as much. Because then we're just ahead on the board from what they have, even though they've ramped a little bit. This is unfortunate because it does set them ahead a little bit, but we don't need another one of these, and I don't actually need the draw here as much. I realistically more just need to keep them off of this being worth 5. This being worth 3 is annoying, but being worth 5 is problematic. Hopefully they don't rip Whole New World. They ripped a Fortisphere, which is bad. But if they quest with this, it's just going to get killed, so we are in a precarious position here. I don't think that they can actually quest with this, because we're just going to slam all of our guys into it and kill it. But they can gain 5 a bunch, which is bad for us. Okay, so that is not that surprising to me. We need to ramp, otherwise we're just going to be dead in 2 turns. Okay, how do we beat this Ariel? I guess I don't. It's just going to kill me with the Dime. We just need to find an answer for the Dime, I guess, is probably the solution. Okay, maybe that is the play. So then that means that we should draw here, since we're not going to be able to get enough items. We may still Mickey, but if we get the Rise, we can kill this. Alright, so we didn't. So let's do this. Mickey, and then we'll quest here. They might get us with this Ariel, and there's not really anything that we can do to stop them. Like, if they play conservatively and just use the Dime and don't quest with it, then we're probably fucked. Aerial is good in this matchup for sure. They're at the point where they can almost quest with it, and it's okay, because they have the dime still, but I think it's probably safer not to. We do need to find a way to kill this dime, basically right now. Or kill the aerial would also work. That doesn't actually kill the aerial without us drawing more cards, right? We would need another one so the Tinkerbell doesn't do anything. So now we're on rip exactly destroy an item. So it's this, this, this. Dang. Okay. One short. That's okay. That will happen. We'll send these. We'll keep this, this, and the Smee. May or may not play the Smee. We'll see. A pretty good hand. I think I'll send the Chenpo. Do this and pass. This will hit with a Fishbone Quill. Goofy. An interesting addition to the deck. It does quest for quite a few, so I can appreciate what it's cooking. We only really need one Fishbone Quill. 2 would be fine, though. But I think I can send it, given that we ripped an aerial here. I wonder if it's possible if we should have been just playing the Tinkerbell to give us more outs to try and kill it. Felt like ramping was the play, but like I could definitely be convinced that it was wrong. This is a bit awkward. So we're getting rid of the popsicle here. Let's do this and pass. Fine with the Smee taking a little bit of damage here. Get to play our Flav here. Unfortunately, we lost a popsicle, but looks like they did too, so it's okay. And the Quill versus the Mickey Mouse. The Quill is certainly a lot stronger. Could also just run out Cogsworth. We don't actually get to bash their Smee then. Because we played the Fortisphere instead of the Popsicle. Maybe I should have thought about that a little bit more. That's an interesting thing to think about, though. I guess this is probably better this turn. And then maybe we don't quest with the Smee. Could just blast the Smee now. We'd have to not have this. That's probably not worth it. Yeah, that's probably not worth it. We'll do this, and we'll just play this here. Yeah, we'll just ink it. It's fine. I'm just gonna pass then. My thought is that I will probably play the crab. Next turn, ideally. Because it'll set us up for the next couple of turns. We can do this if I play the Cogsworth instead, but I feel like the crab is just better here. Maybe we trade here and then crab. Debate what I'm inking. We'll do the Flaversham first, I think. Give ourselves the most options. So with that, I can probably send the... the aerial. Yeah, I think that's okay. We do this, this. We play the crab. Get back a Fortisphere and pass. And then what this lets us do is we can go workshop, pop, pop. And then also rip this one too. We'll just have like 10 cards in hand. And this will quest for like 6. And if our crab is gone, that's still fine, because that means that their whole turn was like ink and play Hades, which is like fine, but not particularly exciting. And if they're just looking to ramp for a turn, like us drawing a bunch of cards or potentially playing a Cogsworth, like Workshop and Cogsworth or whatever, is probably pretty good for us. We'll see what they play for 5. If it's just quests with these two, then I'm not too worried. We'll see what they run out. They run out nothing. Well, that's not generally what I would consider to be ideal. Workshop. Draw, draw. Fortisphere. Draw, draw. Okay. So, we'll ink Baboom. I'm gonna blow up the Quill, I think. With this. And we'll just quest here. Get back a Fortisphere. We'll quest here. Draw 2 cards. And then if they decide to just hard cast a whole new world without a Quill in play, that's fine. Seems likely since they just bin to Fortisphere. Yeah. It's fine. Digs us closer to Dime as well, and we do still have the Tamatoa in play, which can get back our Fortispheres anyway. But I'm likely looking to run out maybe the Cogsworth and the Aerial this turn. We just kill them. If we rip a Dime. Pretty close. It is scarily close to just killing them outright. Because this is 4 or 5. Let's just do this first. See if the Dime is there. It is, so we can do Dime, draw, Fortisphere, draw. We didn't actually have to draw with that, but that's fine. It is, they've determined that it is close enough for government work. I probably could have done the math on it, and it would have been guaranteed if we don't draw the cards or whatever, but I don't think it really matters. We have like 10 cards in hand or something. So that is a prime example of where I think that the Maurice's Workshop lists are quite good. And also where I think that Alice is very good. Because as we saw there, like, we were doing a bunch of stuff, and our opponent had an Alice, an Aerial. Aerial, not Alice. Aerial. The collector, the treasure collector. Our opponent just had one of these in play for a bunch of turns, and then destroyed us, right? Because they just did this, they played a Dime, we didn't have our Beast or our Rise of the Titans, we didn't have, you know, Grab Your Swords, like we didn't have an answer to this untapped. Like I almost want more item hate if this is going to be a big chunk of the metagame. Like perhaps we go down to 2 Chenpos and go up another hard-headed, just to have more options to be able to do that. Or potentially even just another Rise of the Titans. It's really hard with a lot of these 1-drops, or the 1-ofs. Like, I really want some Mono Let It Go, because it is a very good card, but, like, it's bad a lot of times compared to other cards. You know, I want Zeus because it's really strong, because it's able to be sang and other stuff, but, like, where the fuck am I putting all these cards? I'm running out of room for cards. We got too many cards. It's problematic. Alright, we'll run another one. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the list, though. We go second. Smee is not at its best, but it is better than not having anything. So we'll send everything else. We do have a lot of uninkables in this deck, but we have not so many that we can't afford to mulligan a little bit. Because I was a little bit more conservative on my ink. We're only at 16, so it is more viable to be able to send a few cards back, and it doesn't just ruin our life. So we'll do this and pass. Our hand is okay, but not great. It may be because we're in this matchup here that we can go slow enough that we can just play the Workshop into the Fishbone Quill. We'll see. Kind of depends on our other draws. I don't know if I can afford to play this Smee. Which means I should have inked the Smee instead. I should have thought about that a little bit more. I may not be in a position where I can actually afford to play the Workshop first. They're playing the Robin Hood variant. They do have the Fishbone Quill, so their draw is a lot better than mine because they have a lot more items. A lot more. Alright, let's get rid of Let It Go, I think. I may actually play this Mickey next turn. Do Mickey and Workshop together, just to catch up on ramp. I'm holding on to the Zeus in case they're playing Beast for some reason still. Benja, sure. I don't really like Benja in this deck. I don't feel like it really matters that much to destroy just a single Quill. It is okay, but it is not great, is basically my conclusion on it generally. We can save the Baboom to kill the Smee next turn, maybe. I would like to play the Smee and the Mickey. Maybe I can't save the Baboom, which is fine. Yeah, maybe I can't save the Baboom if I want to play the Mickey and the Smee here. It's like I have to do this so that there's a little bit more pressure on the board against their shitters here. So they ran out an aerial, which is bad for us. We have an answer for it with the characters that we have on board. But it's still not awesome. I would like to draw a couple cards here. So I think we're going to do this. That was actually not bad. I don't know if I can afford to ink this turn, though. I'm pretty sure that I have to kill this Benja. And I want to be able to play this Tinkerbell. How am I going to threaten this aerial? I guess I sort of can't attack if I want to threaten the aerial. So maybe I do get rid of either the Flower Sham or the Quill. Or just pass. Like, this is almost certainly a whole new world. I think I'm supposed to just do this and pass. But this makes it so that they can't favorably do it with the aerial, but we'll see. Maybe this is a mistake. But it feels right to have this Tinkerbell, because if they quest with this Smee, we actually get to sort of clean up the board. At least more than we are right now. This could still be ink this with Quill and then Whole New World with Ariel, but if they do get to quest with this, that's good for us. Because we can kill this whole board even if they sack the Fortisphere and give anything else defense or a thing. The only thing that they can do that would be bad for us is if they heal the Smee, but if they don't heal Smee, then we can do this. We kill most of their board, because we get to do this. Unfortunately, the Benja lives, because we can't sing Zeus. But I think this is what we've got. Yeah, our opponent's opener was certainly much better than ours on the play. Ariel is a spooky card. Losing our Zeus here, or losing our thing to Zeus is really pretty bad. Looking to run something out for 5. Hard-headed. Yeah, we're getting kind of bullied. The workshop version is obviously a lot worse if our opponents are playing hard-headed and Benja. So that's sort of a no-brainer. I guess we're just dead. We can kill one, but we don't really advance the board at all. We may as well do this first just to see. Well, we can kill both of these, but they still get to keep the Benja. We can kill Beast. Benja, I guess. They get to keep Flav, which is really fucking bad for us. But I guess it does give us a little bit more time. I don't know, we'll do it, but I don't love it. Pretty well behind in this spot, I think. But this could be a reason that the Whole New World version is just strictly better. Because it is more explosive and doesn't suffer as much from item destruction. But we'll see. We'll see for game 2 and 3. I like the hard-headed, but we have no ramp currently. I also like the Smee, but again, we don't have any ramp. I'm wondering if it's just this. Okay, this is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Gives us a 2/3/5, either with Cogsworth or Beast, depending upon what they have. It's not particularly vulnerable to item destruction, to still be favorable. And we don't have to lose too many good cards to be able to do this line. Hopefully we draw something that's not an inkable for this Fortisphere, so that we get to keep it, but if we have to run out the Fortisphere's ink, we will. Okay, they play a Smee of their own. That makes sense. We'll send this quest, and pass. It's possible that we should wait for the Cogsworth next turn. But I likely will ink Cogsworth to play the hard-headed if they play a Quill. 2 Tamatoas are gone. Just something of note, certainly. Let's see if they decide to trade here. They don't. Do this. Blow that up. We'll just quest. If they decide to use the Smee on Mickey and then heal it, that's fine. We're likely going to play the Cogsworth next turn, so our Smee's going to be alive, so if we can get rid of this one, that would be fine for us. Okay, so they had to get rid of their Benja just to play a Robin. Makes sense. Yeah, if they go for this line, that's fine. If they don't go for it at all, it's also fine. Odds on us finding an Inkable is pretty high, I would think. So I am going to play the Popsicle and gamble it. We did not, which is about right. But we could just kill this board. Maybe that's fine. Because I can just cast this on this and then kill the other one. And then we'll just beat down. Obviously that was a bit of a gamble, but I think it's fine. Like, we have a very fast clock, and our opponent does not have anything on board currently. So in theory, we can just beat them down and then win with the Lucky Dime. Grab your sword is not it, but we'll just play Cogsworth and then we'll quest out. And this makes them have less options for dealing with our board now. Because the Flabbersham doesn't challenge anything. They basically have to Zeus here to be able to kill anything, and they would have to take out the Beast. Which means we still go to 17. And if they don't kill anything, they just die, so... The rare quest out and just win blue steel game where you play Smee and you just beat them down. That's why I still really like Mickey, because it puts pressure on the board, which I think is pretty nice. Okay, now we go second, so it is a little bit different how we're going to have to run this out. We do have the Beast, which is nice. We'll send these back. We can keep the Mickey and the Quill, potentially. Can you keep this for ink? Just send these two. Our hand's actually pretty good. It's even better. Now we don't need this Mickey at all. We'll see if we even want this workshop. It is one of our few draw things, but... I'm likely going to kill that, so then that means that we're not playing Smee this game. So I'll probably ink Smee next turn. We'll just shoot the Robin. We don't want them to shift Robin for free. That is a good way to lose the game. Unnecessarily, right? It just gives them too much advantage with the Robin Hood. Having 2 Robin Hoods certainly makes it a little less obvious then. Yikes. Well, I guess the plan is still the plan. Not really anything I can do to stop double Robin Hood. If they have the shift, they have it. Yep. And they did. So I'm considering keeping this Baboom because we can shoot the Robin later. But I'd really like both of these Fishbone Quills. And this Flabbersham. Like, I want all of these cards, basically. So maybe I guess I don't need the Baboom at all. We'll just live without it. It's fine. I would like to cast this when we have, like, 7. So that I can play this and this, ideally. That may not be possible, but... Okay, so they draw cards. They're going to go up to 5. Tinkerbell is pretty good this turn. Maybe I don't need these then. They don't necessarily need to know that I have them, but the Tinkerbell's probably okay here. Does make this card a little awkward. Because if I have another one or a Swords, I just get to kill both of their things. And if they Whole New World here, that's fine. They just jam another Robin Hood. Okay. That's not great. This is 9. Which we can't quite get to. I think it is just still this. Kind of regret not keeping the other Quill. Chen Po. Okay, I guess it's this and pass. And then we're going to have to deal with some of these next turn. Hopefully they don't Hades us here, because then we're pretty dead. Ariel also bad. So they're going to gain 5, go up to 12. They're just beating us down here. We can easily kill 1. But likely not 2. I feel like I have to draw cards instead. Like, we need better answers. Just killing one guy doesn't really fix our problem here. Any item kills us outright. We can ink this. Like, attack the Robin and then play Chenpo. No, we don't have the stuff for that. We're 1 ink short of being able to do that because I can't ink the Ariel. Which means that I can't attack the Robin. Which is actually maybe fine. I can do this. Just fuck. That needed to be bodyguarded. Well, maybe we don't lose. But if they play any item, we lose anyway, so it didn't matter. But this needed to be bodyguarded. That was an error. I don't know if it really changes much on this board. Any item kills us regardless. But this needed to be a bodyguard so that they can't just easily kill Tinkerbell. because next turn we have the ability to, like, Tinkerbell kill Ariel, Chenpo hit here, shoot it, and then they just have Flav. It's not great. Oh, they have Zeus anyway, so it really doesn't matter. They gain 5. Why didn't they play this first? What? Why didn't they just kill us? I don't understand. They would have just had us dead. 5, 6, 7, 8. That would have been enough to kill us from 12. Yeah, I mean, we're dead anyway. Like, there's nothing that I can do from this to kill what they have. But, like... Okay, well, they got us then. We made an error, but they, like, didn't want to win, I guess. So, yeah, that was a weird play. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, is we're going to go back to the drawing board. So this was our Maurice's Workshop flavor of the deck, and it is apparent to me that the Maurice's Workshop just doesn't really work as well as I would like it to, because it is more vulnerable to item hate than it is not vulnerable to item hate. Which is problematic, right? There's nothing wrong with being a little softer to item hate, but it feels like we're very soft to it. And it's a little slow. Not that the slow is necessarily bad, because it was good in the matchups where it was good. And in the mirror, I think it's fine, but if more hard-headeds, Rise of the Titans, Benjas, if those are seeing play, then the Workshop lines are just, like, suicide. So, let's get away from that a little bit, add in the Whole New Worlds again, which makes me want another hard-headed. And then this puts us at 62, so we need to adjust this a little bit to compensate for that. So this gives us 17 uninkables now. I liked the Aerials quite a bit, and I do like the Chenpos more with this version because we have the Whole New Worlds. It is possible that something like Let It Go is just, like, not where we want to be in this deck. It does seem like it's a lot more aggressive than it is controlling. It leaves us with very few outs to Tamatoa, but we don't really have a ton of outs to Tamatoa as it is. Like, against Crab, we just sort of have to race with our own deck, with the Aerials and our own Crabs. So it's possible that, like, we just get rid of more of the songs. Get rid of that and a Zeus, even. Run 31 characters, 14 items. 14 items is pretty standard, I think. If I'm running Whole New World, I really want all 4 of them. Maybe we just be a more on-the-board character deck, because it kind of feels like it's not that bad. It's a really cheap deck, strangely, with the way that it's constructed right now. This. I wonder why that is. This. Oh, I guess, like, we don't really, like, besides Whole New World and Lucky Dime, nothing is really worth a damn. It's just like $5 here, $6 here, and then these are 10s. Kind of cheap. I guess Quill's another 6. If you're not running Bells or Beasts or Robins or whatever, it's kind of a cheap deck. Kind of like that, actually. Oh, that makes sense. I don't think that they were doing it intentionally. I think it just takes a little bit of getting used to, certainly. But yeah, if he had an item there, he just wins right away. This. New deck, import. Import. This is Dime BS. Okay, so let's try this one. put it up there, and then we'll reload real quick. Yeah, the Robins were kind of interesting. Making the deck a little bit more aggressive, certainly. So let's play it with the Whole New Worlds. The deck is better with Whole New World, like, unironically. I want Maurice's Workshop to be good, but Whole New World is just a better card by a lot. You know, I can acknowledge that is true, right? I can understand and appreciate that that's the case. So we're against this nonsense. This can be ink. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I definitely don't think it's a bad idea. Ariel's just such a good card. I don't know. Closes the games pretty fast. I think we're going to send these back. We'll ink this and play towards Smee and Cogsworth. The Smash is really good for us here. The Grab Your Sword, probably not so good. And the Ariel's kind of bad, but the rest of it's fine. So we'll ink the Beast and pass. Kind of a slow draw. But the Smash should be good. Unfortunately, it's a little slow for this Robin. Maybe because of that, the Fire the Cannons is better, because it's just better on the draw. Like, I was thinking that I liked Smash because it gives me more outs, but I mean, it's possible we just need more things to interact on the draw and not on the play. Because on the play, like, we're already going to be pretty good a lot of times anyway. You just play towards your ramp and doing shit. So they inked a Bare Necessities. They probably actually have the shift Vanessa here. Or Ursula into the Eric's Bride. So they're going to be able to take either the Smash, probably the Smash, or the Swords. It doesn't really matter if they take the Smash. I don't really care that much about the Swords here. But this is an interesting line, for sure. Oh, they take the Smash because they have Ariel. Sure. Makes sense. We have a really good hand if they don't have Whole New World, but if they do, it's a little annoying. Well, they do have Whole New World. So that is a bit annoying. So we'll do this. I feel like I'm supposed to hit this Robin with the Smee, because I don't want them to be able to shift it. And the Vanessa, while it's a little scary, is not that big of a problem long term. Yeah. There's a lot of spots where the Smash is quite nice. It could have killed the Ariel here if we still had it. Obviously, there's a lot of spots where it can be pretty favorable, but there's just as many that are awkward, right? This Ursula has a bit of a beating here. We don't really lose anything we care about, because we're likely just going to play this Cogsworth anyway. As opposed to running out, like, double Fishbone Quill, but it is possible that, like, the double Quill is just better. Or we could run out the Grab Your Sword and just kill the Ariel. That's a possibility, too. Yeah, I think they thought that as well. So we have two choices. We can either run out double Fishbone Quill and just, like, ink most of our hand, but this Whole New World really doesn't work for us. But if we ink most of our hand, then we're a little bit better into another Whole New World. Or we can run out Cogsworth, which I think is probably better, because we could use this to sing a Whole New World too. And the Cogsworth does give us a little bit of a better board. We can even deal damage to one of these. I guess it's probably the Ursula over the Ariel. The reason I'm hitting the Ursula over Ariel here is that if we, say, rip into, you know, one of our Grab Your Swords and a Tinkerbell or whatever, like, I want to be able to deal with the Ursula. I don't know. It's tricky. Having the Cogsworth down does help, but we've lost quite a bit of our better cards in this matchup. They've had a pretty good starting draw. The Ursula actually doesn't feel bad in this deck. It's a little weird, right? Because it's sort of aggressive, but sort of not that aggressive. But it is a good card against items and stuff. So we're in a bad spot this game for sure. Like, losing the Fishbone Quill here makes the Whole New Worlds a lot worse. Because obviously the redundant Whole New World is not really a card. I am likely going to Whole New World here. But with the double flute, we're pretty screwed. They almost have to play a song here. It kills our Mickey, that sucks. This puts him to like 12 already. Jeez. Like, oh yeah, it's not great. I think we send this. We send this. I don't actually know if I run out the Smee here. Ideally, I need to find like a Zeus or something to actually deal with the board. But I feel like I have to Whole New World. Like, I don't really have a choice. It's not great either way, is kind of the issue. I can blow up one of these. I can ramp a little more. I just don't think it matters. I think I can just go next and be okay with that. That's fine. I'm fine just going next. Wait, were we not in hardcore? Rip. Thought I was in hardcore. Turns out I wasn't. But yeah, he steamrolled us pretty bad there. Baboom is nice. This is all good. We'll just send these. Nice, this is a good hand. Cogsworth into Chenpo into Tamatoa, potentially. Likely ink the Tamatoa. This is a cool card back. Ooh, and we got a Flav. That's a good hand. They also play a Tamatoa. So we still don't know if they're red or not. Which is fine. But that means that this Baboom is kind of butts. There is something to be said about the non-Maurice's Workshop version where I don't give a shit when I play my items, which is also kind of nice. Because you sort of want to have items to play with the Workshop if you have it. So this is blue-red. So this hand is pretty good against blue-red. At least as far as hands that are playable against blue-red go, this one is okay. Mostly because we have the Aerial and the Fishbone Quill. Mostly just the Fishbone Quill, honestly. Grammar Taller. Okay, let's play Flav. Draw some cards. We found a Whole New World and a Smee. That's not bad, actually. I want to play this Smee this turn. Are we looking to Whole New World right away? Probably. Sooner than later, at least. Probably in 2 turns is what I'm thinking. It's fine. Maybe I should have opted to keep the Flav safe. Or sorry, the one in my hand, just so that I can draw a couple more cards since I'm not going to Whole New World this turn. Yeah, that was probably a minor error. Just draw one, it's fine. I mean, I guess I can't really cast it this turn. Oh, we're just casting like Chenpo or Ariel. Because they can shift the Sisu and it blows up my whole world if we play Flav, which is pretty bad. This gets us to 8. That's not enough to do both of these, or just this. So I think the play is to run out Ariel. I'm just debating if I want to double ink. I think I do. Though playing the Chenpo is nice as well. Like with the Ariel. I think I'm just going to double ink and pass. And that keeps this safe from Tremaine for this turn. And then we can Whole New World with being up 4 ink, which I think is nice. Yeah, this is not surprising to me. They didn't even ice block the Smee, so that's a mistake. Oh, they're just going to sing B-Prep? Sure. Do we care about that? Not really. I mean, they don't really have an answer for Ariel otherwise, I guess. So it's pretty good there. The double Popsicle's a good draw for them. I guess we walk into Tremaine a little bit, but it's fine. Because if they don't have exactly Tremaine or B-Prep, then we can just Whole New World with it and sing it, which is better for us. Nice. They should have B-Prepped for sure. Oh, they didn't have ink. Oh, that's hilarious. So if we play 2 items, we can gain 5 off of this. Can I get to 11? I can. But I can't use the quill then. Or the dime. Which is a little awkward. I can protect it with Mickey, but then they can still Maui. Maybe I don't care about the dime this turn. And we just Chenpo instead. We haven't inked yet. I don't think I need this Rise of the Titans. What if we played Fishbone Quill, inked this, and then played this, and just passed? That way we have Tremaine protection, and we have Maui protection here. And 2 of their B-Preps are gone. Which is generally pretty good for us, I would say. Okay, another B-Prep, that's fine. A bit unexpected, but that's 3 B-Preps now, so... Cogsworth, gain 2, I guess. That is an awful lot of their B-Preps, though. It could be that they're on 4, and it's just a different list, which would make more sense. Probably better into Blue Steel, for sure. Yeah, the deck is really slow. Like, we have a lot of time. Bell's a bit of a problem. Can blow this up, I guess. Which is probably fine. I mean, we're in the market to just, like, quest, I suppose. May as well blow up what we can. Do this, and... I mean, we can play the Fishbone Quill and pass in case we rip Whole New World. We have 2 more in the deck. And I think we have another 2 Flavs. At least 1 more Flav for sure. So yeah, I figured that they had a Maui. That's not that surprising. If they don't have an Inkable that they want to ink, they won't be able to Bell. That's unfortunate. Tinkerbell. Well... Not exactly what I would have liked there, especially because they can double Ice Block Brawl it if they want. Gaining 5 makes sense. If they have the double Ice Block Brawl or double Ice Block Sisu, I guess Medusa does it too. Brutal. Okay, that's a good draw at least. Unfortunately, I can't also dime, but it's fine. Do have a lot of good draws here still. My assumption is that they're going to be able to kill this with Medusa or whatever. Their clock is not particularly fast, but we don't really have anything going on either, so yeesh, and a Flav. They are outdrawing us quite a bit here. Like, they've drawn more cards than us. Maybe because I got rid of that extra Flav earlier. Would make sense. I guess we only have one Flaversham left then. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have gotten rid of the Flav earlier. And we should have just played towards drawing more cards before a Whole New Worlding. Because we had more as an option. Like, I could have just sacked most of these. Like, the extra Popsicle and Fortispheres could have just been 2 more cards. Even if we were just sending them to Ink, it would have given us a further advantage to be ahead. Maybe that's possible. Yeah, I don't know if I navigated this game very well. Obviously, they've had some pretty good draws, but I definitely don't feel like this was navigated 100%. Are we just dead here? I don't think so. We can kill Sisu and Medusa. If we can get to 9, which we can. We can get the Tinkerbell in play. So we do this. This. The beast kind of doesn't matter at this point. We have to do this. And then that's what we got. So this is 5, 6, 7. That's not enough. And another dime is 6, 15. We don't have enough cards to get another dime, unfortunately. They seem to be over ice blocking. I guess it kind of doesn't matter. But they do seem like they're over ice blocking. It looks like they have at least 3 Sisus and 3 Be Prepareds, which is a very slow version of this deck. So the aerials are generally going to be pretty good against them, I would say. But a lot of our other cards are a lot worse. 4 ice blocks? Jesus, those things barely have text on their own. 12 cards? How many Whole New Worlds do we have left? That's really close, actually. Does Tamatoa win it for us here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it does. If I play this, Tamatoa with the wheel can win it. Ink here. Ink here. So this is actually a good draw then. So I can just play this. Get a Popsicle. Play Popsicle. Play Fortisphere. Ink this. Get him with the fucking Tamatoa. Ugh, get crabbed. Imagine being a blue-red player and just killing all my shit a bunch and then still losing to fucking Crab. Okay, so these are all bad. I'll keep a Smee. But we do need ramp. We really can't function in this matchup without some. Unfortunate, but at least we have draw. Draw is better than nothing. This is rough because it is kind of bad against Sisu, like the Cogsworths. Normally they're like okay, but Sisu makes it a lot worse now. Aerial does force B-Prep though, as long as we protect against Tremaine. I don't know if they're even going to be on Tremaine at all. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know where they fit Tremaine in this list. If they have 4 ice blocks and 3 Sisus and 3 B-Preps, that's already 11. Like 10 or 11. I don't know if they have room for Tremaines. If they're also running 1-jump aheads, like, maybe they do, but damn, it's gonna be tight list-wise. This Whole New World is a really bad draw. I mean, okay, so they have 1-jump ahead, that's 14. Let's assume full Medusas, full, like, 3 little Sisus, that's maybe 21, 22. I don't know where they're fitting Tremaines. It's kind of spooky. Like, maybe they have it, but I don't know where they're putting it. If they Maui me, they Maui me. Since we don't have any ramp, we're just going to have to rely on Flaversham here. Their hand is really bad, by the way, outside of the Flaversham that they have here. Because they double 1-jumped, but they didn't actually play an ink last turn. Because they're only 1 ahead of us for ramping twice. Or 2 ahead of us now. Maybe I'm... Oh my god, okay. That is the worst draw I could have imagined. I would really like to use this hard-headed, though. I'm just gonna quest. This many Whole New Worlds is really fucking awkward with no Quill. Even with Quill, but it's really bad without it. They just decide to quest here. Does that mean that they're gonna play Sisu? Sisu costs more, right? I'm confused, but I'm confused a lot, so that doesn't really... Like, this has already gotten 4. I don't know what they're killing it with at this point. I guess it's free to use the ice block here. Like, are they killing the Smee? No. So it just didn't do anything. That makes sense. Game, please. Game. Game, please. Help. 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 All my guys are dead. Luckily their clock isn't fast, but like, come on, dude. Hopefully they don't have any more card draw, I suppose, and I'm just gonna like run out an aerial and it'll live. I don't think the Flaversham is the play. Bro, it's not great. Maybe they'll blow up my board to kill aerial, or maybe they also have Tremaine and they're just gonna boom the shit out of me. I don't know, dude. Hand's bad. This happens sometimes. Like, we did mulligan a lot of cards, too. We could have kept a few more of them, probably. Ice block into Grammar Taller. So our aerial lives. Which can get us up to like 9. See what we draw, I guess. A Baboom. Is this a whole new world line? It just doesn't feel like a good line to win. Do I quest with Ariel? I don't think so. I may consider questing with it once I can play Chenpo, but even that doesn't feel great. Like, our Flav is dead here for sure. Like, we knew that. 100%. But not having any ramp is like fucking AIDS here. So what is our way to be able to actually kill this? There kind of isn't one. They just get to kill us with Bell next turn. So I guess we have to whole new world now because I have to kill Bell, otherwise we lose. It's just like not a good winning line. That's 2 of their B preps gone. But if we can't kill Bell, we just die, so I guess we're just dead. Fine. What a hand. I mean, it's not even the no removal, it's the 4 whole new worlds in our opener, or in our hand. Because we couldn't even really ink favorably either. This is really a bad hand. It happens. Not every hand is a good one. Oh, yeah, I mean, we wielded a nothing, yeah, too. But that's what happens sometimes. So we can play Smee into Mickey, I guess. Maybe we keep the Chenpo here, actually. That's fine without it. I don't know if we need Smash in this matchup, but we'll hold on to it for now. Could play towards Ariel this game. Again, another no ramp game. I mean, I guess we have the Mickey. No Quill game. Ice block. Given that we ripped a Zeus, I suppose we're just playing Smee and passing. I didn't add more uninkables, did I? It's still 16. Just feels like we've been drawing an awful lot of them, but maybe 16 is still quite a few. I had been playing like 15 in the other list. And that had felt a lot better to me. Mostly because it just, like, I don't know, seemed like you weren't getting boomed all the time by mulliganing to your ramp. They've brawled my Smee. He perished. Flaversham would be good, or another ramp. Or just a bunch of popsicles into a Smee, sure. Hopefully we have an inkable next turn. This was a little greedy, I guess. So they're going to brawl again, sure. I would like to be able to play this Ariel, which I think I'll do instead of playing the Flaversham. I don't think I quest with Mickey here. I would ideally like to use it to protect this Ariel if we can. Unfortunately, they have a Quill of their own, which makes Whole New World a lot worse for us. But we'll see if they even have it. We can blow this up before we Whole New World. We don't actually have to Whole New World this turn. But they could Wrath our board, which makes it pretty worth it. Because our hand kind of sucks otherwise. Like, what I'm thinking is, alternatively, we could make this Mickey have bodyguard, and then we quest for 5 here, or 5, 6, and then we go to 9. But then we're just not whole new worlding, and that's really pretty bad. Yeah, they did have a B prep. Ideally, I wanted to find like a fishbone quill or something so that we can actually start getting some ramp, is kind of my thought. So it is better that we did decide to do it now. Let's do this. Rip the Chenpo. We can get rid of the second Chenpo to play this one. And then just quest here and pass. There's a world where I, again, was supposed to use one of my ink to give the Mickey Mouse bodyguard. But I think if they just Maui the Ariel, it's not that bad for us. Because they kind of would have to do it here. Oh, that's so bad for them. Do I just unironically Lucky Dime the Ariel? I feel like that's better. Like, just don't worry about this, Lucky Dime the Ariel, and then they're just dead on board to the Tamatoa. Like, what do they do here? They can't kill the dime and then also kill everything else, so they're just going to lose to the crab. I'm surprised that they just played dime last turn. That's a very interesting choice. Maybe they just wanted to develop it while they could, because they didn't think that I was just going to fucking have them lethal. If they had both of these, there's no reason that they shouldn't have just killed my board. That's a weird choice. Because now they're just dead to the crab that's already in my hand. I mean, I'm all for it, but it is still an interesting decision point there for them. Just playing dime over... I guess they couldn't do both. The Mickey would still live. Man, some of these hands have just been pretty rough. If we're going second, I don't like any of this. Like, Rise was probably my favorite card in that hand. But we can just ship it all and then look for ramp. This hand's better, yeah. We have no early answers to anything, which is bad. I almost want to get rid of the Smash just to play Fire the Cannons. Like, the Smash was good in exactly one spot so far. It might even be better just to have Fire the Cannons over the Zeus. Or the Let It Go. The Let It Go hasn't really come up much. It's kind of hard to say, actually. Chenpo will be good in this matchup. If we can get it down. Ideally, what I'd like to do is Fishbone Quill the dime, get out Cogsworth, and then just play Chenpo. Yeah, not having any answer to this Robin is really rough. And not being able to rip into a Fire the Cannons here is also not ideal. We only really need a Chenpo, not two. I'll probably discard the Grab Your Sword if they shift instead of doing anything else. Because obviously Ursula can take this anyway. If we get a turn to untap, like, it's good, but I don't know, that could be a mistake. Is this better to play than the Fishbone Quill? Not really, because we can always Tinkerbell too. Maybe I just don't need the Chenpo with the way the rest of our hand is. We do this, ink this, and pass. And then if they don't Ursula, we do this. They already inked. So the game's just over then. Neat. Well, both teams played hard, I suppose. Bye. Aladdin. Bit annoying. Do I want to play Smee and Flav over the Cogs? That's probably better. While we can. Okay, we're just done. I get it. They declined the rematch. I see. Straight to the Shadow Realm. How very hardcore of them. It is a really abysmal matchup, though. So I get that. Like, that is the reason to be playing Blue Steel, is that you just get to boom them. Honestly, the best draw that you can have as an opener for them is, like, the one-drop Diablo into Bucky, shift the Diablo into, like, Aladdin. I think it's probably one of the better draws that they can do, like Aladdin on 3. Mostly because it makes it so that the... we have ramp, we have items, we have a Smee. It's like an okay hand. Get rid of the aerial. So we have draw 2. Grab your swords, not the best if they're on green steel. This is like a modest green steel hand. The Smee is probably at its worst. Maybe Smee's just not that good on the draw. Like, that is certainly a possibility. Because, like, it doesn't interact with Diablo. So that's something that I should be thinking about, maybe. Let them keep full information on my hand, it's fine. The rest of these cards are better anyway. I mean, we could also just run out a bunch of Smees and then play Cogsworth and just try to race too. But certainly if they Bucky into Shift Diablo, then it's a little awkward. If they just Quest Diablo, that I don't care about. It's sort of the Bucky into shifting that's usually problematic. This at least slows down their questing while they're making us discard cards, which is nice. It's not amazing, but they know that we have this Grab Your Sword here, so if we can discard it to the Bucky, I probably will. Mostly so that it doesn't have an easy target for Ursula in 2 turns. Because certainly we don't want to give them free anything, really. Nice. Well, if we have a second one, that sort of changes things a little bit. I guess we're sending this back. And then playing the Mickey here. Okay, so they do double let the Storm Rage on, which was to be expected. However, we have this interesting line where next turn we can just grab your sword to this board and attack the Ursula and just kill all their cards. They get to keep Aladdin, I suppose, but that's fine. Because it lets us at least kill everything else. And then we can always follow it up with this later. Ugh, that is so awkward. So we're going to lose this Fortisphere, so then this Flav doesn't draw any cards. I don't think I can not do this turn. It's fine. The reason that it's okay is that if the Aladdin just quests and kills the Fortisphere, then they lose their Aladdin to our Mickey, and that's okay. And if they don't, then we have the Flabbersham to be able to draw with it, and then it makes the Aladdin like pretty crappy too. Okay, so they do end up questing with it, that's fine. It means that we can't draw this turn, but we do still have the Cogsworth that we can play out right now. Given this, I think we get rid of the Flabbersham, play out the Cogsworth, and then we just trade here is fine, and then say go. It's not a very fast clock, but we just like get to play Simba, and then I don't know if they can win. They would have to Bruno the Simba, which is something that they have in their deck. So, like, it's not just free to use the Simba, but if we can try to hold a card in our hand, at least we can try to gamble with it. But we'll see what they play. If it's something that we can shoot, that would be ideal. But if not, we can just play this out. Deal 2 to this and pass. We don't need to make our Cogsworth vulnerable for no reason. This way it's a 50-50 for us to be able to Simba again if they have specifically Bruno, which they inked one earlier. I don't think that they play that many because it does cost 5. But then we have the 50-50 that we get to keep our Grab Your Sword. Okay, so they do have it. So we have a 50-50, we get to replay the Simba, which we lost. They play another Aladdin. Alright, we'll play out a Cogsworth and pass. Unfortunate. Next turn I'm going to kill their board with this grab if they don't do much. I guess they get to keep the Robin. It's annoying. We'll see what we draw. Rise. So if I attack here, this gets 2 on it. I attack here, this gets 2 on it. And this only hits for 3. Or, sorry, it only hits for 2. I guess that's fine. I don't love it, but it is, based on what our hand was, it's like all we got, so. They ink an Ursula, because Ursula's bad here. They have Whole New World in their deck. The classic Whole New World Bucky deck. Oh my god, they have Grab Your Swords. Well, that's really bad for us then. Yeah. I was worried about Grab Your Swords, but I don't know if I had the luxury of playing around it. So if our opponent rips Grab Your Swords, it's really bad for us. I think I'm supposed to just play the Quill and pass, unfortunately. Pegasus is bad. Another Cogsworth is good. But I don't think I kill the Robin here, because then I'd lose this one. I feel like I'm gonna need it. We are out of Grab Your Swords, notably, which is really bad for us. Oh my god, they just keep ripping fucking bombs. I know that their deck is full of junk. It's really unfortunate. Honestly, if they just quest with the Pegasus, I might concede. They really should have just quested with Pegasus here, but I guess it doesn't really matter, right? If they do or don't, yeah. If they just quest with Pegasus and pass, then they're weaker to swords, but it's fine. Yeah, that was a rough draw. Even with the swords, like, we just really didn't draw that many cards. Maybe getting rid of the flav was not it. So we get rid of these. We're going first. Maybe the Chenpo is okay here. Like, we just ramp into Chenpo to put some pressure on what they're doing. It's not at its best in this matchup, though. It's, like, okay. Maybe we send because we want the removal for the early Diablo. This is fine. This is the kind of game where we're going to have to try and draw a lot of cards, I think. If we need to double ramp like our whole hand into using this to remove stuff, we will. That is terrible. Yikes. Well, rip Simba. This is a good draw, actually. Gives us a plan B to deal with shitters. I like Zeus a lot, but maybe we do need more Fire the Cannons just to deal with this sort of early pressure. Because if we're in like these situations, it's really awkward. Got a Cogsworth, that's pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't know what to ink then. I feel like I have to keep Tinkerbell and Cogs. And we have to ramp this turn, which means this has got to go, which feels really bad. But I don't really think I have much of a choice. I think it's this. And then either we can do Tinkerbell or Swords this next turn, following into Cogsworth. You think it was Zeus? I mean, it doesn't really matter, because sometimes the Zeus is good to kill like a beast as a follow-up. But I don't think Dime is it. Like, we're just not going to be able to play Dime for a while, so getting rid of Dime is not a problem. Because, like, we're going to likely have to get rid of it anyway. With this as the play, we're going to use the Grab Your Sword, so the Tinkerbell is less good. But there's the line of Cogsworth into Tinkerbell, which is very strong. So I guess it is getting rid of Zeus, but like, we're just going to have to Grab Your Sword this, because I can't really let them have Diablo drawing cards for free. An extra Cogsworth is interesting. I do like double Cogsworth in this matchup. But then we don't have a Tinkerbell at all. So I think it's just this. Because playing double Cogsworth is nice, but likely what we're going to do is play Cogsworth and not ink next turn, and then play Tinkerbell the next turn. If they have discard, they'll probably use it here. Double Ursula, sure. I'm surprised they didn't run one of these out earlier. I guess Bucky is, like, kind of a reason not to. This is also stronger against Bruno, which is nice. Because, like, they can't remove it. Makes me want to run out the Tinkerbell now that they... I lied. I lied. We're gonna just boom Diablo. And then lose our Simba to the Bruno if we have to. Bruno makes this not as easy as it once was, because it is just a free kill in some of these spots, which is pretty rough. They can't quest because the Simba just, like, destroys them here. That is very good for us. Because now we have a super fast clock, and we don't need the Simba at all. I don't actually think that they can race here, even a little bit. Even if they have Zeus, they can't kill this Simba. I don't think I quest with Cogsworth here either. Unless we give this bodyguard. We could do that. I don't hate that, actually. This way, like, they have to get through Simba. Gives us an extra 2 lore. This is essentially what Chenpo would be doing, except it's on our Simba, so... kind of like that. They have a world where they can Bruno the Simba, and then attack everything into Cogsworth, but, like, I don't necessarily know if that is a winning line long term. Strength of a Raging Fire to do what? 3 damage to something? This has ward and this has ward. Mickey's dead. Rip Mickey. We hardly knew ye. Alright, now we're on the draw again, so we definitely need Babooms. We got at least 1, which is nice. So we'll get rid of the Dime, the Holy World, the Grab, and the Smee. Smee is not at its best in this matchup, even though it feels like it would be. The Babooms are more useful, I think. And I would rather find, like, a Cogsworth. 2 Cogsworths. This is a pretty good hand. Especially if they don't get rid of that whole new world, but the Baboom will be nice. We'll need to find a Tinkerbell, probably. If they got rid of an Ursula, they likely have another one. Smash can be good if they lean into Ursula. Gives us a second removal spell. Which means that we are just inking one of these, I guess, which feels kind of weird, but it's fine. This is good too, actually. We might run this out instead of the Quill, because we don't need that much ramp. Gives us another ink here instead, because we only really need to get to 5 to start playing Cogsworths. So they did play Bucky. I may actually shoot the Pegasus, because it makes it so that they can't shift the Pegasus, which doesn't feel bad to me. Because we still have Smash to kill a Diablo next turn if we want. I think that's fine. Because I'd like them not to make us discard a ton of cards. We probably get rid of this whole new world, actually, if they allow us to discard a card. Just 1. Mostly because it's an uninkable that it's also a song, which is pretty bad for us. They just did nothing. Nice. Well, then I guess this is the play here. So they must have had the shift Pegasus then. So I'm glad that I killed it. The more and more I think about it, the more I want more, like, cheap removals. So maybe a Fire the Cannons is just, like, where I want to be. Because it's not that the Smash is bad, but given this board, it makes the Fire the Cannons, like, a lot better into the way that our curve kind of is. So we could have used it on turn 1 and just killed it, or whatever. So we'll go to Tamatoa. We'll go ahead and play Cogsworth. We'll let them keep the Bucky for now. I don't actually care about the Bucky. I'm fine to just discard the Smash. Honestly, I'm fine to even discard the Grab Your Swords. Like, I think I'm whole new worlding next turn. Like, I don't even need this Smash at all. I guess this is worse because then we don't have more inkables, but like I'm pretty sure the play is just to play Cogsworth and then Whole New World again. And then just like not worry about these idiots and find a Tinkerbell. Because it's very difficult for them to punch through any amount of Cogsworths, so I think this is fine. They got rid of 3 Brunos now, that's pretty great for us. Go ahead and play this, and then we'll quest. Could heal the Mickey, I don't think it matters though. It's like not bad, because then the Pegasus can't just attack it, but that seems like such an unlikely play from them anyway. So one of the things that they could do, I guess they could Swords, but that's not really that great. I'm in the market kind of to like Cogsworth Smee next turn, probably. And then the game is likely just over. We could also just Chenpo and quest as well. Now that 3 Brunos are gone, like that's generally pretty safe too. Like Chenpo Smee. I feel like the Cogsworth is just safer. If they make us discard, I'm probably fine to bin a Smee. Beast, sure. Could also get rid of the Whole New World, since we have the Flaversham. We just like don't need more cards at all, because we have no ramp, so definitely don't need Whole New World then. Yeah, if they're gonna play Beast, I'm in the market just to play Cogsworth, play Smee, and then that'll be my whole turn. And then we'll just set up for a big turn the following. I don't care if they're drawing a couple of cards. That's fine. Dime. Yeah, I don't care about that. Yeah, we just play Cogsworth. Yeah, Chenpo resist 3 is going to be pretty difficult for them to punch through, I imagine. I could have kept the other Smee to play with Chenpo, but I think it's fine. I'm just going to do this. And then we can just quest here. I don't even think I'm going to quest with these. We're just going to set up putting Chenpo into play and then questing with everything. And maybe even giving the Mickey bodyguard too. Like, I'm probably just going to bin this Dime. I just don't even care. Yeah, this is why B-Prep exists. Like, Sisu is also good against this board. But in the Steel matchups, like, this is untenable for them. There's nothing that they can do here. Sorry, Lord. Appreciate the follow. They're not playing Under the Sea. This is a pretty standard list. Under the Sea would be really good, yeah. It's just like these lists don't play stuff like that, because it's just not that good for their deck, right? Because normally they're just looking to discard a handful of cards. But it would be funny. Just boom us. There's something to be said for, like, it is an answer to Cogsworth. If it was inkable, maybe. But it, I guess, is interesting because you can have Diablo, like, discard it, right? If there's a world with this list where they run things like Cinderella, like the 2-drop Cindy, I could see it being better in that world, right? Because with 2-drop Cindy, you can like have the shift Cindy and like you play towards that as a secondary line, but it gives you more outs to discard that shit. Sure. I don't actually care. My hand is already enough to win the game in 2 turns. It is very unlikely that they can get through this Chenpo, period. With resist 3. Does that even kill the Smee? I guess it technically does. Exactly, sure. Our Smee has been boomed. We can only get to 10. Maybe we just lose. That'd be pretty brutal. So we can quest for 2, 4, 6, 7. We go to 10. They go to 13. We still don't win, but we can, like, kill some of their stuff if we want. The next turn. We can bodyguard here. For sure. I guess we should have played the Fortis here first. In case there was something alternative that we wanted to do. Yeah, maybe playing the crab would have been better. I feel like the Chenpo is fine, though. Because if all these are tapped, we can, like, challenge a bunch, too. Because we're only questing for 8. We can grab the dime back, though, with the Tamatoa if we were feeling it. I don't even think that's necessary. But now we have the ability to, like, actually challenge their stuff because the Chenpo has some attack on it. So if they do quest out to try and race, we can just kill most of their board. Unless they have exactly Shift Pegasus, which they could, which should be kind of bad for us. We do still have 2 draws to try and find, like, a Grab Your Swords or something then, to remove a little bit of their cards. But if they do give everything evasive, like, they could very easily race us here. They are dead to a Lucky Dime off the top, though, as well. If they don't make us ink another thing. Okay, so they did have the Shift Pegasus. That's kind of bad for us. So maybe we did need to not play the Chenpo and, like, play the Tamatoa. Interesting. I guess we wouldn't have been able to really quest with these. I guess, yeah, we still could have, right? Because they only are dealing 1 damage with all their idiots. Yeah, maybe we needed to play the crab this turn. Could have been a mistake then. Oh, we didn't have the crab until we Fortitude. We wouldn't have had enough ink. Lucky Dime still wins off the top. Technically. Does Swords even do it anymore? Swords remove 2, 3, 4. I guess Swords doesn't even do it. It's just Lucky Dime. Fair enough. I suppose we should have been questing a little bit earlier. Brutal. Tinkerbell. I don't think that's good enough. Too much evasive. May as well play it and see what it does for us. Yeah, I just can't challenge these. I wonder if I just should have killed the Robin with my Cogsworths at the time. Like when it was an option. I don't even remember if that was this game. Yeah, I can go to 18 and they just get us. Good beats. Pretty sad though. I want to change something in this. What did I want to change? I want more early removal. Or cheap removal. We're already down to 1 Zeus. Jesus. So where are we putting it? How have these rises been for us? We haven't played against red-purple at all. Which is where these would be at their best. So what are the targets that Smash can hit in the format that are important for us? Let's do a little bit of looking and then we'll circle back around. And this is comparing deal 2 damage versus 3 damage. So dealing, if 2 damage would kill it, then the Smash is not better, is basically it. So there's a handful of cards in purple, obviously. Goats, crabs, snake, foxes, etc. Rabbits. But you don't necessarily need to smash any of those. Generally, the Tinkerbell Swords is better in those spots. The Big Pegasus is a 3, so that is something that's smashable. So there is an evasive target that is smashable. That's pretty much it out of this list overall. If we look at like a songs deck, so there's Ariel, and realistically like Ursula if they're running it, which in this case I don't think this list is, but if they were running the 3-drop Ursula, I guess you can kill Tinkerbell with it. So that's a couple of hits, but nothing like crazy. The Sisu deck, you really don't have anything that is incredibly smashable. Like there's nothing. Yeah, Ursula Deceiver of All is one that you can hit. This one. So the Ursula, most of the time we don't care that much about Ursula. It's like a little annoying, but not insane. Because generally you're more worried about the Diablo popping off or the Robin Hood shift than just the Ursula on its own. Especially since it is a Bucky deck, the Ursula doesn't necessarily work favorable with Bucky. And like if you look at their songs, most of these don't do as much as against us as the like just the Bucky making us discard stuff or whatever. Because they're generally not all on the sudden chills. They have some, but usually not the full amount. So if you're able to deal with this, it does kill Aladdin. Is something that we can do with Smash, which we don't care as much about that in this matchup. Obviously, we want our items, but it isn't like a total blowout. We can kill the... They're not even playing it in that list, but if they're playing the Flynn Rider, like this is just a 2, so we can kill that. The Pegasus is... Like, honestly, I don't even know if Smash is that good. It kills a few things a little better than other things, but I'm just not sure if at the curve point that it's at, if it matters enough for us to worry too much about it. And we can just rely on our other stuff a little better. It's not like it was in the previous format, I think. Obviously, there's a few things that it does hit that are good, but I just don't think it's so much so that the other removal spells that we have aren't manageable. Because there's just not a lot of the flyers that we were worried about before. Like, the Surfer Minis were troublesome. So it's basically like Ariel's, Ursula's, and that's kind of it, right? Like, most of the other cards just don't matter enough for us to be smashing them over just dealing a little bit of damage and then cleaning them up with our other stuff. Like, Zeus is better against a lot of the other cards. So then maybe it just isn't the smash, and we go with the Fire the Cannons, which is right here, because that gives us a little bit lower stuff. And then maybe, how many locations really are there? So this is playing castles. It's really just the purple decks running locations, right? Purple steel, purple red, purple blue are all just running castles. Green purple. It's literally just the purple decks. I don't know if there's any other decks that are really running locations. Is there RLS? Is there even any RLS Legacy decks currently? Not really. There's a couple, but they're not like... So it's basically just the purple decks that we would care about that have locations. And it's realistically red-purple that is just location heavy. So will we be struggling into the location heavy red-purple with this list if we cut down to 1 Titans to give us like another Zeus? Gives us a lot of uninkables, but like I wonder if that matters. Maybe we don't need this many aerial treasure collectors. Is there any other removal that's like more manageable ink-wise? Or any other cards that we would consider that would be better for us? Yeah, Pride Lands can be tricky for sure. Maybe this is fine. Like, I want another Zeus, but maybe this is okay. This is just not a lot of removal, and it's a lot of board stuff. It's like a lot of characters. This feels like not a lot of removal to me, but maybe it's okay. So we want this, no, Dex, this one. Okay. We do that, and then that makes our mulligan a little bit more viable for finding some of that removal. I queued into the wrong thing. Oops. Oh well. We'll send all these looking for ramp. Yikes. We found a quill. It's fine. Dime's pretty bad. The fire of the cannons is kind of mid. Chenpo can be okay as our 5-drop in this matchup. This can also be alright. Double ramp. We'll see. See what they're playing. I like this cow skin. It's cool. Another Tinkerbell, huh? Alright. Send it. I do think Tinkerbell is okay in this matchup, but not great. It's especially bad into a bunch of Cogsworths. It's like fine, but it's not exciting. They inked a Cogsworth. I don't agree with that. I think that's one of the best cards in this matchup, and I'm not really sure it's close. That is the most awkward draw. Holy shit. Alright, I guess we just don't Rise of the Titans here. That's fine. Just do this. We send the Fire of the Cannons, and we pass. Like, we have to Chenpo into probably Mickey Whole New World. We may do just inking the Mickey, we'll see. Do this, play Chenpo. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to ink the Mickey. Since we still have the Fishbone Quill, it's fine. If they had a Fishbone Quill, it would be different, but like, I'm looking to just Whole New World this turn. And there's not a lot that they can do about this Chenpo. Yeah, they did play a Cogsworth, so they have a second one. Gone. That is unfortunate. Well, I guess it lets us keep the dime in the graveyard. We did not find a Cogsworth of our own, which is awkward, but we can just play a crab. So we got rid of some nonsense, mostly. I think the play is just to run out a crab, actually. Like, it's not an awesome line, but it's certainly better than most. And if their play is just to, like, let it go the Tamatoa, I think that's okay. Yeah, I don't love it, but it's, like, fine. Because it can, we can, in theory, beat up this Cogsworth, then, if they, don't protect it with, like, the Fortisphere. Or another Cogsworth or whatever. They shoot our Chenpo and then just quest. We didn't rip anything that deals damage to the Cogsworth, unfortunately. I think I should start with the Flaversham on the Fortisphere. And then see what we draw. A Cogsworth. Well, that's pretty good. Let's do this. And one of the redundant Chenpos here. I'm going to play the Cogsworth. I'm going to, I guess, just attack this one. Do I heal this? I guess. I don't really need the cards that badly. Yeah, they just concede. That makes sense to me. I was like, what do they do? How are they ever getting around that Chenpo with resist? Like, it's fucking impossible. And maybe we don't need 3 Chenpos. Like, that's certainly a possibility. And that leaves us a little bit more room for something else. We're going second. Did we just send the whole squad here? We could keep a Tinkerbell, because we could always ink it if it's bad. Maybe that's better. But if it's good, it's like generally what you want to be playing a lot of times. It's possible that I'm inking too much, or that I'm sending too many cards back, because like we have some really awkward draws. So they inked a Sisu. That doesn't really tell us a ton. Because there's a lot of decks running the Sisu right now. This is good. If they're red-purple, we probably want a dime. Okay, so they're blue-red. That makes sense. They are down a lot of cards, which is good for us. I do like Chenpo in this, but given that we don't have any inkables, we just have to send back what we can. They send back a Flav, and then they pass, so I think we'll do this, and then get rid of the whole new world that's redundant and pass. I will save this to use, but we're not going to use it until we have to, because their hand is bad. Like, really bad. That is red-blue sometimes. So now we go second. We know a little bit more about the matchup this time. So these are pretty bad, but these are fine. Rise is okay. This is a good hand. Double Quill is generally pretty good in these matchups, to try and get way ahead if we're whole new worlding. Crab is good in this matchup. More so than Cogsworth. If we can hold on to him for a little bit longer, I will try to do that. Even just getting value off of extra items or whatever. But if they don't have an immediate answer for it, like, it's usually pretty bad for them. Given that we ripped a whole new world, I can get rid of 1 crab, I think. Because we do have an alternative to draw cards with our Fishbone Quills then. They have a Fishbone Quill, so the question is, do we ramp or do we kill their Quill? They are down a lot of cards. Since we ripped the Beast, I think the play is to Beast it instead. Maybe we're just not whole new worlding this game then, since we have the Flav. Because, like, we can blow this up, or if they ink and then play Flaversham and then blow it up, if they play another item, we can pop that one instead. Yeah, this makes sense to me. So if they play another item, we'll just pop that one instead with the Beast. I'm still okay with that. Snuggly Duckling, an interesting choice. So they run out no items, which means that we should just Flav ourselves. It's possible that we're supposed to Quill there and then double Quill, but it's a little tight on our numbers if we do that. So let's send this, and I guess one of the Rise of the Titans, since we have a Beast and a Rise still, to play the Smee. So they're a little ahead of us because of the 1-jumps, but they're quite a few cards behind, which is nice. Makes this Tamatoa a lot better. They brawl our Flav, that's fine. That makes these additional quills worse. So let's get rid of quill the other one, I guess. Play crab. Get the popsicle. We just bash Flabbersham, then they have to trade here. That's maybe fine. Like, if they trade, that's okay. We still have the crab to, like, do shit too. Ugh, they have a crab now. Annoying. Do they have enough ink to ink this turn also? Oh no, they don't have a 1 cost item. That's nice. So that's good for us, I suppose. Like, Tamatoa is good for them, but... can we do something with that? We would sing now. Which would let us play more stuff, I guess. Like, I think the problem, if I do that, is... I almost want them to waste more time doing Flabbersham stuff. What if we just do this first? And then quest here. And then get it back. Give us more information to work with. Fire the cannons. That still doesn't kill the Flab, unfortunately. So we're probably just getting rid of it. I think I'm going to play Cogsworth and just bash this Grammatala. And then I'm thinking I'm going to ink this Beast Hard-Headed so that we have a little bit more ink to work with, and then pass. Yeah, so I don't really want to be Whole New Worlding if I don't have to. If they're just going to play double Grammatala, though, that makes me like it a little bit more. So they did nothing with it. So this is just Fishbone Quill and 2 Talas. Now I do like the Whole New World a bit more. Because, like, I can probably clean this board. If I Whole New World. Maui, Fishbone Quill, Crab. Well, I can't fully clean the board, but I can at least take away the Flabbersham. Which is nice. I can play this. Can we ink another thing? No. But I can Baboom the Flav. Do I even care? Like, seriously, do I even care? Or is this Aerial just more useful? Maybe the play is to do this. To start. We quest and get the Popsicle back. This means we can't play Tinkerbell, but that's fine. We have a Flab for next turn. Maybe the play is just Mouse. Plus Baboom. And then this means that we don't get Chen Poen, which is a little unfortunate, because they almost certainly have Scar if they're playing Snuggly Duckling. But Scar doesn't have insane targets here outside of the... Well, I guess they could eat all of these, because they just hit Cogsworth first. Cogs, Smee. Oh no, I guess that doesn't work, because that's a little too big. If they play a Popsicle, they could hit them both. Cogs, pop, hit this, and then hit it with the Tala. They'd get to keep their Tamatoa. So they've... How far I'll go twice, which is catching them up quite a bit on ink. Nothing too scary, though. Okay, so they do have Scar. I guess with the Ice Block, they can kill them all. I guess they don't really get to kill Tamatoa. Unless they also attack their Tamatoa in, which is fine. They could keep it alive by just not killing Tamatoa, but I feel like that's really bad for them. Please just pass. That would be great. Okay, so the Tamatoa, even healing it doesn't really do anything for them because the Tinkerbell can still kill it. Like, Tinkerbell kills both of these, which, I mean, obviously it's not awesome for us because we lose our Tinkerbell because we don't have the cogs anymore. But we do get to take out a Tamatoa, so that puts them down to 2. We doing anything else here? No. Okay. I could kill all of this and then quest for 3, but that would put a bunch of Tinkerbells into play instead of, like, drawing cards. Maybe that's fine. Just like Ink Chenpo, go Tinker Tinker, Baboom the Crab. Not like the Tinkerbells are really getting much better value than this, so I may as well. And then, like, the best thing that they can do is just scar me again, but they still don't get to kill my whole board, so it's probably fine. I do like the Snuggly Duckling idea, though. Maui, I don't care as much about. I am generally much more concerned about good cards than bad ones, and I would consider Maui to be kind of a bad card here. Especially because I could just Mickey into it, and that's fine as well. Oh, they're just going to kill the Mickey? Sure. It's fine. I can just trade a Tinkerbell for both of these. And then they're just down to 4 cards, and we're going to Flaversham a bunch. Let's play this first. Simba. We can afford to play the Flaversham first. Popsicle Dime. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Ariel just kills them. I'm doing okay. It could be going worse, certainly. Has the game gotten faster? Yeah, a bit. What's the game versus Bucky? You just shoot it. We have the Babooms and the Fire the Cannons. I'll show you the deck here. So we sort of have 2 lists. This one, we were trying the Maurice's Workshops. It was okay. But it did struggle a bit. We had an opponent that was playing like extra hard-headeds They had benches, and they were just playing a lot more items, and it was kind of rough in the mirror, so we lost a game, which was unnecessary. So I went back to the whole new world, and this is what we've been playing. Here, let me close out real quick, just so that we have our stats here. So looking at the deck, since we updated it, we did okay against red-blue, and we did okay against blue-green. They conceded when we played Cogsworth and Chenpo together. So the deck that we're running is this one right now, which we've shaved down on Let It Go entirely, which I'm not 100% in love with. It's possible that we're supposed to just cut down on a Beast or a Chenpo, perhaps. But our plan for the green steel deck is you sort of boom or fire the cannons. Smee likely is not even that good in that matchup. On the draw, you're likely looking for one of these to deal with Robin or Bucky, or sorry, Robin or Diablo. And then once you get sort of past the early / mid game part of it, then you can get into like Tinkerbell, Grab Your Sword, Simba, and then you bully them with the Cogsworth plan plus these cards, and then that's sort of how you win the green steel matchup. Obviously, if you can ever grab your swords and kill like a Bucky and a Diablo and other things all at the same time, generally that is pretty favorable for you. You don't need to ramp super hard in that matchup, so Mickey or Fishbone Quill are both fine. If it only gets one ramp off and they destroy the Quill, it just really doesn't matter, because you're just looking to sort of get Cogsworth down after sort of booming or fire the cannoning, one of the really early plays. And then use some of your AoE. That matchup hasn't really changed much from what it was before. We just have a little bit more consistency with the extra popsicles and the better cards in like Chenpo and Ariel to close out the game. Because Ariel is certainly much better than Belle in that it is often 5 lore, but also because it has ward, it's safer. Zeus doesn't really kill it. You don't need double Cogsworth and 10 ink in play for Belle to be playable, Ariel is just strong on its own. Even without having item superiority, it still quests for 3, which is still reasonable. It's Gaston level of stats, but it has ward. But it's not very hard to be item favorable when you have 17. I can bring up the actual deck here, my decks. So this is the actual deck if we lay it out here by Inkwell. We can change our view to this here. So here's kind of what we're looking at. We have the 3 Mickeys and the 1 jumps. Sorry, 3 Mickeys and Fishbone Quills instead of things like 1 jump. We really only want to be going 3 to 5 to play like a Cogsworth, Shenpo, a Beast, something like one of these, or going up to 6 to drop like your Tinkerbells or your Ariels. We're leaning on Whole New World here because I feel like not being vulnerable to item destruction is probably better overall. Though I do think that meta call-wise, the Whole New Worlds could be worse and the Maurice's Workshops could be better because you really only need to run like 3 of them as opposed to 4. So then it gives you more room uninkable-wise. We're currently at 17, which I don't love. Some of that is a concession to the fact that Ariel is just so much better than Belle currently. I can see the argument for playing 2 Ariels and like 1 Belle instead for inkable purposes. I believe that you need 3 Grab Your Swords and 2 Dimes. I think these numbers are good, especially when you have some Mickeys. There are occasions where you might tuck a dime with a Mickey and you need to be able to still find the second one, or early in the game you may have to Fishbone Quill one and you want to make sure that you have a second copy in the deck somewhere, because this is sort of your win condition with either the Crab or Ariel or just some of your 2 lore questers, sort of closing out the game that way. I wish we could find room for more Zeus. Unfortunately, we have to have a lot more early game stuff. I do think that the 4 Babooms is absolutely necessary. It's critical against the sort of top decks that are seeing play. You need it against this stupid shit because otherwise you just die. If you can't remove Robin or Morph or even like the 1-drop Diablo, and then they shift, and then you can't remove the 2-drop Diablo, like if you're not removing this stuff, they're just drawing a ton of cards and they just murder you, and it's terrible. Obviously, the way that you are able to beat this deck is you have some of the best removal spells to slow them down. Most of your cards don't care that much about what removal they're playing, and you are able to do AoE damage to Bucky, so you suffer the least of all of the decks against this. And you have Cogsworth, obviously, which is very good against steel decks in general, because it makes a lot of their removal spells really bad. And then eventually you sort of play a Tinkerbell, you play a Grab Your Sword or whatever, and you sort of boom them that way. I wish I could play more Zeus. Currently, there's not any space for them. But right now, this is where my uninkables are at. I think 3 Mickey and 4 Fishbone Quill is fine. Mathematically, the difference between 4 copies of Mickey and 3 copies of Mickey is very low. So the 7 is fine for something that we have sort of a redundancy on. And this is the same as how it was in set 3, where we have 7 AoE spells, we have 7 ramp spells, we have 8 draw spells with the Whole New Worlds and the Flavershams. We have, half as many item removals because we want them half as often, right? We have about 5 Fire the Cannons because we need one, but we don't really absolutely need the second one. We have like 5 sort of win condition cards that we don't really need until super late with the Aerials and the Tamatoas, most of which are inkable with the Tamatoas. Previously, this would have been Bell. I think Bell is a little bit worse. It can, but the Mickey lives a lot more than it used to, mostly because the removal that's seeing play is different. There's a lot more removal, so this card is a huge problem for a lot of decks, right? Where if they play this, and that's why it's $50, right? This is from the new set, and if this is tapped, so if this is exerted, when it's your opponent's turn and they draw a card, you draw a card. So if you don't have an answer to this Diablo and they just leave it in play and keep questing, it's a big problem. And you end up losing because they just draw a bunch of cards. It's not a particularly fast clock, but it allows them to keep the cards flowing. It is a Floodborn, so they make you discard with Bucky, which is annoying. It sucks. So what is Chenpo's purpose? So Chenpo allows you to be more aggressive in this deck than sort of you would be able to be in the past. So a lot of games, you have your Cogsworth in play, and you really can never tap it, right? Because if you make your Cogsworth vulnerable to attack or your Aerial to attack, it'll probably just die, which is bad, right? But with Chenpo, right, because it's a bodyguard, because it's fucking enormous, right? It's a 4/7, right? I don't know if you remember back last set where we were running like Cerberus, which was a 5/6, at the same spot. I don't care if Chenpo is singing my Whole New World or my Swords or Zeus. Like, it can sing all of this stuff, and that's totally okay, because we want it to be tapped most of the time anyway. So Chenpo is fine just like being your big body, right? You play this guy on 4, it's pretty good. You play Cogsworth into this on 5, it's pretty good, and then you can sing with your Cogsworth, right? Because a lot of times it's difficult for a lot of decks to remove Chenpo as a 4/7, let alone a 4/7 with resist, right? So at 4/7, it's also protected from most of the removal in the game without something like Ice Block or support to really juice the removal. Bruno can get it. Strength of the Raging Fire, if they super pump it, can be rough. Have I faced any Mufasa? I have not. I've played a lot of Blue Steel and Green Steel today. That's pretty much it, actually. Here's my matchups that I played with this, because these are the 2 decks that I played today. We played against a Red Steel, which we destroyed because it's bad. It just doesn't have any draw, and we just played Cogsworth, and they suffered. Green Steel and Blue Steel. And then when we played the other one, we played against Blue Steel and Green Steel, and then a little bit of Red Blue. But we did good into Red Blue today. I do think that this is a good deck into Red Blue given that we're playing so many aerials, we're not playing Bells anymore because I don't actually think that Bell is that good into Red-Blue anymore because they're playing Brawl now, and Sisu, and all of the things that are just really good against the 2 strength characters. If we just have less cards that get destroyed by those, it's better for us, right? So really the only things that they hit with their Sisu and their Brawls are Flavershams and Mickeys, which is not great, right? Obviously, we would rather our Flavershams draw a bunch of cards, but that's why we have the Whole New Worlds. So our goal in that matchup is ideally to try and get ahead on ramp and then lead into board states where they have to have the Be Prepared or they just lose. Tamatoa can very easily be questing for 10 in that matchup. We gain a little bit of lore with some of our other guys, Smee and maybe a Beast or whatever. We've gained a bit, and then we've closed out the game a few times by just having Tamatoa be gigantic and closing it out immediately with Dime. So when we now have more items in the deck, previously the deck only had like 10 items, right? It had Popsicle, Fishbone Quill, and 2 dimes. Right now we're at 14 items, so there's just more of them in play a lot of times with Tamatoa. And when they're killing your Flaversham, you're not killing as many of your items either. So you get into board states where your Tamatoa is, instead of questing for like 2, like it maybe was in the past, 2 or 3, now it's questing for 6 to 8, which closes out the game much quicker. And if they, there's only so many answers in their deck for Alice, period. Especially if you play a second character, like the Mickey, a Smee, one of these other dorks, just to Tremaine protect it. They literally have to be-prep this card, or it's just Bell that they can't answer. So, as long as you're aware of, what their weaknesses are, if we go look at their deck, right, we go look at, the Sisu deck, right, they have 2 Be-Prepareds, okay, 2 Be-Prepared, no Tremaines. How do they answer Aerial without these 2 Be-Prepareds? This is it. This is their Tremaine answer. This is their only answer to it right here, to the Aerial. So because they don't have Tremaines, the Sisu doesn't do it. Your Aerial just lives if they don't Be-Prep it. So your Whole New Worlds and stuff, you can plan around them having 2, maybe 3 Be-Prepareds at most, and then just make it so that their board wipes and their removals are just a lot less good against you than they normally would be, I think. Obviously, it is still not a super favorable matchup, but I think if you build your deck with more aerials, with more things like Chenpo even, Chenpo is pretty good against their deck because if they don't have a lot of their ice blocks or whatever, they don't have great answers to it. They have to ice block plus Medusa it, double ice block Brawl, or Maleficent it, right? Because Maui on its own doesn't punch through it, right? So you can set this up in certain spots where they may not have the ability to kill it. Let's say that they don't have an ice block in play and they're going from 5 to 6. You can play it and know that the Maui won't be able to kill it on its own. They won't be able to Medusa it because they can't also play an ice block. And they don't really have other answers to it at that point, so then you're more protected, going Cogsworth into that or whatever. And playing the removal, like the Beasts and the Rise of the Titans, also helps. If you blow up the Fishbone Quill, or even sometimes blowing up the Dimes makes their deck a little more awkward until they get to the Crabs. Obviously, if they play a lot of Crabs, it can be pretty tricky, because we don't have a lot of great answers to it. But Let It Go isn't a super awesome answer to it anyway, mostly because it just sets us pretty far behind. It is a bit of a race in that matchup. You have to get your stuff on the board, your middling characters, in ways that they can't favorably interact with it. And then try to sneak in some lore while you set up for your bigger payoffs with the Dime. So it's still a tricky matchup, though. How's Blue Steel, or Purple Steel? Purple Steel's fine. A lot of times it's Brooms now because they have Yen Sid, which is a 2 lore, 3 quester if you have 2 brooms in play. It also draws a card if you have a broom. And then they play basically all the good ones, like the cheaper ones, and then the rush one. And then it allows them to leverage the Sorcerer's Tower, which lets them quest for a little bit more. It is okay. The only really thing that was holding brooms back was like a lack of cheap ones. It's not awesome to only have the one drop in here. Like, I think that it probably needs more one drops or whatever, for it to really be super aggressive. But like Yensid is pretty strong. You know, being able to quest for 3 that also replaces itself is very good. So if you're playing this, like, it is a pretty aggressive card, and the like the castles are good, and this is a good card. Like, making your brooms +1 lore when they quest, and you can actually put any idiot in here. It doesn't just say your brooms quest; it just costs them. So like, there's worlds where you just have like a board full of these dorks, and then you suit a lot of them up into the location, and then all of a sudden, you know, instead of questing for 3, 4, 5, you're questing for like 6, 7, 8 out of nowhere, right? Is it a great deck? I think it's fine. Like, I think that the brooms are okay. I think that there are the color combinations, as long as you are aware that Diablo is problematic and you have an answer to do something about the Diablo, I think most of the decks can function okay. Most of the colors. Like, this one gets evasive. Like, this card has been seeing some play in a few decks, kind of on its own, right? Like, the fact that it's a 2/3, it can challenge and kill the Diablo. Let the Storm Rage on, Strength of the Raging Fire, just like answers to Diablo if you need. And then making sure that you're not just dead to a Bucky, like a Bucky draw, is nice, right? Because that is happening quite a bit. You know, we still have like a discard deck that's leveraging like the Prince Johns and like the 1-drops. We still have, you know, the blue-red deck that's leveraging the new Sisu, which is very scary. So if your deck can't beat Sisu, like, that can be problematic. If all of your characters are 2 strength or less, not only do they get a 5/4, but it also kills all your stuff, and it quests for 3. Like, it's just a huge problem if you're not prepared to deal with the Sisu. I think if you want to do well against green steel, or at least have a pretty favorable matchup, you know, probably 70-30 or something along those lines, I think that some version of this deck is probably where you want to be for Sapphire Steel. I don't necessarily know if my list is perfect or if Savige list is the best. Our lists are pretty close now. It's just sort of shifting the bell numbers and some of the removal around a little bit in favor of, say, more item destruction or whatever. But I don't really feel like Scuttle and the Robin Hood and the Beast are really it anymore. I think these cards are mid. I think Scuttle is actively bad in these decks, because like the body doesn't matter here. Like, a 1/3 random body isn't that good, and it just, as a card, doesn't have any text, so I just don't want to be playing that. Scuttle is you put it in your hand. So you look at 4 cards, reveal a card, put it in your hand, and the rest on the bottom. So it's a bit like Ariel, but it is only for items, right? And we're only playing 14 items, which is not a ton. And it isn't as good as Ariel because it also isn't a 5 singer, right? I think that's the difference. Is Ariel is also like a whole ass card on its own, and currently the body on Scuttle just isn't that relevant, right? But this puts them on the bottom as well, so this doesn't really work for you for Jafar. But I think Scuttle could see play in an items deck if you are playing a card like, say, Bell's House. I think that there is a spot where you can potentially have this card in your deck, have it be like a full-on item combo deck, and then you just need the various bodies to be viable, right? Then the Bell's House makes more sense, right? And then the Scuttle makes more sense because the 1/3 body finding an item, let's say that you have 25 items or something in your deck, then it's more viable because it finds an item and then is also a body that you can put in Bell's House to get the discount, right? But if you don't care that much about the 1/3 body, like the 1/3 body is okay, right? And if Scuttle misses, it's just, you just paid 2 for a 1/3. Like, that's so trash. It just doesn't do enough because you're not also leveraging the 1/3 body super favorably. And I think that's really the rub is the 1/3 body doing something other than just being a 1/3 body when you whiff? And if it's not, then the card is mid. I do like the inkable count in this deck, though. I think it probably needs more, like this deck could use Whole New World or whatever, but I like kind of what they're doing here. If Scuttle was just literally any other card. No, I still don't. And the problem with Scuttle in this deck specifically is, okay, so here, this is Savige's list, right? Even if we have Scuttle in this list and one jump ahead and whatever, like, there just aren't enough items. There's only 14 items. You're missing too often for it to matter. Like, I would rather play Baboom every game than play Scuttle. Right? Like, I want to be killing their thing, their Diablo, instead of just maybe putting an item in my hand. And it doesn't always put an item in your hand. And yeah, what are you going to do if you get Dime? Like, that's fine, but it's not great. There aren't enough items, and it's not really an item combo deck either. If we have enough items in our deck that not only is it very rarely going to miss with Scuttle, but also you're leveraging like the ability to find specific items like some sort of a tech piece or whatever, or B, you just need a quantity of items, but also you need bodies on the board to be able to jump into locations or sing other songs or whatever, then maybe. But like, why would I want to cast Scuttle on 2 instead of just casting the 1 jump ahead into a Flaversham on 4 if that's the plan? Right? Because if you Scuttle, and even if it hits an item and you draw it, then you ramp, but a turn late. So then you're not really getting ahead with the 1 jump ahead in your deck. The whole point of 1 jump ahead is you want to cast it as soon as you can so that you're skipping your 3-drop slot, right? But if you're not skipping your 3-drop slot, then why are we 1 jump aheading? Like, what are we jumping into then? So now we're just at 3 or 4 if we ink. For what? Like, if we're not getting there to play the Flav, like, what's the point? So, like, we look at our deck right here, right? If we look at our curve, this cost low to high by type, okay? So if we look at our deck here, wait, maybe we don't even care about this. Let's just look at cost straight up, okay? So we got some 1-drops, right? And some 2-drops. These are generally, you want to play them on 2, or you can weave this in later or whatever, right? Like, you want this early, especially on the draw, just to stop Diablo and Robin shifts and whatever. And then we get to 3, and our 3-drop is almost entirely ramp. So we're going from 3, like, we always want to play one of these on turn 3 if we can. Because our 4-drop is fucking empty. Right? Our 4-drop has almost nothing in it. Right? We have Flaversham because it's awesome, right? And then we have a little bit of removal, some amount of Zeus. But really our goal is to go from 3 to 5 with this deck. Because we've loaded up on 5-drops and 6-drops, right? We have 7 6-drops. We have 16 5-drops, though Whole New World is a little less than a 5-drop sometimes. Occasionally you jam it because you have to, but the reality is that, grab your sword or one of these is what you're playing on 5, more often than not. It sucks that we don't have Beast anymore, like the Sad Beast, but I think Chen Po is a better card in this metagame because it dies to less things. And it protects your other stuff. It protects your aerial to be able to get in and quest. It can sing Whole New World a lot better. It protects your crab. It protects your Flaversham sometimes. Is Chen Po at 3 necessary? I'm not sure. It could be something else. It's possible that there's another inkable that we could be running that would be better than the 3rd Chen Po. Maybe even more Beast Hard-Headed. Or another tech piece. It could be, another Simba or just the 3rd Tamato or something. But for now, I'm trying the 3, mostly because I want to see it a lot more. Because I do feel like it is very powerful. And the aerial closes games really quickly, and it just doesn't die in the same way as a lot of other cards. having Ward is not to be underestimated. And being able to quest for 5 is also not to be underestimated, right? This can come down as early as turn 4. And there was a game that we played where they just, like, they played Aerial, and then they just played Dime, and then they just activated Dime 3 times and quested with Aerial, and we died. We didn't find a double grab your sword. We didn't find a way to blow up the Dime, and they just dimed Aerial 3 times, and then quested, and we died. There's nothing we could do. We dug like a shit ton of cards and just didn't find it, and then we were cooked. And that's something that'll happen with a card that can quest for 5. That's why Bell was good, but now there's more answers to Bell than there ever have been in a lot of decks, right? In this deck, we got Medusas, we got Sisu, we've got the Maleficent, we've got the Brawl, the Be Prepared still takes care of it. Like, all of those cards can kill Bell. Mostly just the Sisus and the Medusas and the Brawl, right? Maleficent kind of takes care of everything, but, like, all of these can just take care of Bell, which none of this interacts with Ariel at all. I guess the Maleficent doesn't either. We look at the Emerald deck, the Emerald Steel deck, and none of these cards can kill Ariel ever. But double let the Storm Rage on with Ursula or Zeus or the Strength of a Raging Fire, all these can really easily take out Bell, and so can the Bruno. And you need to be at 10 ink, which is not always possible against Green Steel. So, like, the Bell never really had a place against Green Steel, whereas the Ariel still sometimes can, to allow you to win the race. I mean, playing Ariel and then following it up with Dime the next turn, that's just 10 right away. And there have been a few games where we leverage the Aerial to get to, say, 15 or whatever, and then we just have another one in our hand. So unless they can kill Aerial and also kill the Dime in the same turn, we just get them with what's just in our hand. So I would say that there are just enough removal spells that you really want to be leveraging your warded characters where you can. Cogsworth is good, Ariel is good, Simba's just large, Chenpo is just large. Like, we just have big things or things that are defensive. So, like, they all sort of have a place, right? So we're not just losing to small ball shit as much as we used to. Zeus is at its worst against this deck than it ever has been. Because we're not playing Beast, we're not playing very many just, like, 4/4s, right? It doesn't kill Flav cleanly, can't kill Cogs, can't kill Ariel, can't kill Chenpo cleanly, because you got to still hit it with something. Can't kill Simba. The best that they can do is kill Tinkerbell, which already dealt them 1 damage to their whole board, right? And that's assuming that we don't have a Cogsworth in play. So it allows us to sort of play around the removal that's seeing play as much as we can with this list. I think I'm pretty happy with where this is at. I think this might be what I'm going to slam for tomorrow, and then just be done. Overall, I don't think it's necessarily, like, amazing. Like, maybe the Chenpo needs to change. Maybe it needs to be another Zeus. Maybe we want to, I don't know, have more variety. You can go back and watch the VODs, Al. Sorry. I'll be on all day tomorrow, though. It'll be a tournament, so I'll be on pretty well the whole day. But I'll need to go register for it and build the deck real quick. Really, all I wanted to do was sort of test the difference between the Rise of the Titans, the Maurice's Workshops, and, like, the Hard-Headeds, and see if the Chenpo did what I wanted it to. And it felt okay today, honestly. There were a few games where we had a Cogsworth in play and played a Chenpo, and our opponent just conceded. Yeah, sorry, Ninja. I should sleep for the tournament. It is in, like, 6 hours. But I will be on again tomorrow, and I will be on for, like, 8 or 9 hours for the event. This is the list. Sorry, this one is the list that I'm probably going to play. We're going to gamble not having Let It Go and just hope that that doesn't super punish us. It's possible that we're supposed to just, like, shave a Chenpo for Let It Go or shave on the Hard-Headed for another one, but I don't know. I'm feeling like this is probably fine, and this is what I'm going to run. And then we'll do more testing for Chicago if it doesn't work out. But this is kind of where I'm at, and I will... I'll make sure that the list is uploaded. If I do end up changing anything, But is anybody even on? I doubt it, right? Because if they want to play in the event tomorrow, it's probably just me. Following. Yeah, I think it's just me. Okay, I'm just going to kill it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you missed anything, I will dump this onto YouTube probably tomorrow. But you can check the VOD out on here, or you can just check me out. I'll be playing this again tomorrow in the TIA tournament for 10K, or whatever the prize is, the 2K for the first or whatever. So thanks for hanging out. I will see you next time.